I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round, welcome to the freak show, the best in town. What the hell's wrong with me? I don't get along with anybody, honestly. I've been living in my own head constantly, thoughts jumbled around, think I need a new lobotomy. Wait, all these thoughts are too negative. I don't wanna get lost in the sedative. Gotta show them what I got, I'm competitive. You know I'm about to go off, I won't let them win, I'll take a stab. I wanna chase the bag, I wanna weigh, I can change all the things I lack. I gotta face the facts, I got a taste in that. Got me obsessed with the rest, I got an itch to scratch. I'll give up everything.
The venom in my brain, running from the past, wanna escape my pain. I just wanna be a better person, I deserve this, I just wanna break these chains. Always asking for greatness, true to myself, I never fake it. Seen too many once, I just so they get famous. And when I say the truth, most really can't take it. In spite of everything I've been through, I'ma make it. Fake friends, but on my downfall is toxic. Day one, started to outlaws for profit. Now all I do is write verses, no talking. All I do is put the work in, no option. This was everything I ever wanted, created a legacy off of me just being honest. And the fake ones hate, but it's all to no avail. They wanna see me lose, but you know I never fail.
I'll give up everything, daunting if I can see my dream. Cause I'll do anything. Want a reality. I'll give up everything, daunting if I can see my dreams. Cause I'll do anything. Don't let go. I'll make things right. Cause I'll do anything to make one a reality.
It's your boy Miguel Z with the Value of Wrestling New Japan Rebound Podcast. I've got a guest for you folks at StocktonCon.
What up, everybody? AJ Kirsch here, the voice and the host of StocktonCon. The value of wrestling is awesome, so subscribe on YouTube. Scan the QR code right here, now. Subscribe, check it out.
There we go.
You'll be glad you did.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, that's what. Hey, man, shout out to Value of Wrestling. I'm right here with the Big O's, San Jose. We gonna shut the shit down. Love and respect, though, right? Value of Wrestling. Hello.
Man, thank you, brother. Thank
It's the Value Wrestling. I'm the big time Mr. Z. We're here with the indie god himself, Matt Cardona. This is real. The Choppy Choppy is about to go down. Let's go. Let's see it. Oh.
This guy just paid me $50. Matt Cardona, check out the Value of Wrestling.
Cool. Oh, you didn't know we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Sunday, September 1st, 2024. And we're back. We're live right here on the Value Wrestling, right here on YouTube with this week. This week. Get up there. I'll get it right. We are back with the weekly roundup, episode 55, right here on the Value Wrestling. And
hi, guys.
Week's gone. Hi, guys. Welcome to the party. Welcome to the show. Join in the chat. Join in the conversation. Let's make this party la-di-da-di go down in style. Me and Mr. Z are impressed that we're still here. If you didn't know, if you haven't checked it out, go check out the video. Last night's Pre-Pro Wrestling, Bruising for Bruising at the California Automobile Museum was lit, was fire, was some of the best wrestling action I've seen in Northern California, or in California, period, in a long, long time. This was hot, intense action, and we were blessed to film the whole show. They gave us a blessing. We did our best. We did have some audio issues in the beginning, but in the end, I think we finally got those fixed. It's a little on the loud side, so you might have to turn your personal volume down. But work with us, bear with us. This is all learning and baby steps. Now, granted, you didn't get like right up in the ring footage. It was from a distance. We were not prepared. We don't have those type of cameras to do that yet. But if this adventure continues and we get to record more action, we may be moving closer into that direction as we move forward. But it was a new experience. It was a fun time. I don't know if Mr. Z had more fun at SPW Cruising for a Bruising or riding shotgun with me up there and back through traffic because, well, I have a habit of making up catchphrases, and it's always an adventure in its own self.
Mr.
Yeah.
Clark, you should have warned me.
Yes, this is true. This is true.
Big Time has told you in the past.
Yes, we've talked about this in depth. But anyways, last night Supreme Pro Wrestling, cruising for a bruising. I know I wanted to say bruising for a cruising. I wanted to mix those up and back and forth. It was an event. It was a hot event. It was a fun time. If you haven't seen the Scoop with Scoot, go check that video out where he's giving you an insight for the next big paper. I've got myself tickled and trying to talk. It doesn't work. The next big event by SPW, which is going to be back home at the indoor soccer arena, the World Indoor Soccer Arena in Elk Grove, California, or what me and Mr. Z call the SPW Arena. That's going to be on Sunday, September 15th, 2024. It's going to be a great event. We already have our first announcement out there where we talked briefly about the information we do have. It's going to be there. It's going to be Plead the Fifth. Supreme Pro Wrestling, Plead the Fifth. We plead for you to be there, because if you're not, you're missing out. If you watched it, go watch it. You're going to see some great action. We do know that after last night's main event, when Jack Tracy retained his SPW Extreme Championship, he is going to plead the fifth to defend that title against Daniel Torch. I believe it's Daniel Torch. Let me make sure I'm getting that right because my brain just...
Yes, Daniel Torch.
Yes, okay. It's Daniel Torch. And
Torchy!
he's going to go one-on-one with Jack Tracy for that Extreme title. And we also know that they will be doing a fundraiser. They're going to have a bake sale. They're going to raise money for Daniel Torch. I don't know all the details on that. I will be getting with Scoot and other people to hopefully get all the information filled on what's going on so we can bring that to you. But we got the first major announcement out there. Go watch that video. Go watch the Scoop with Scoot. Because also, Goldmine will defend the World Heavyweight title. And I forget who he told us it was against, but it is in that video and in that content. So a lot more to come, and once we get more information, we'll post that card up. It was a fun time. We're going to talk about SPW, Supreme Pro Wrestling. We're going to talk about Cruising for a Bruising. Me and Mr. Z are going to break that all down for you, go over it in just a quick review if you haven't watched that video, so get excited for that. We are going to talk about the Bash in Berlin. We're going to break that all down for you. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of that. We're going to touch on what's coming up this Saturday, September 7th in Chicago, Illinois, when AEW goes all out, or at least they think they're going to go out. They're already setting that card. I don't know, not leaving a good taste in my mouth just by the major and main event match. I'm just kind of like, why? But that we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll even touch on what we have seen of NXT No Mercy, which damn diddly do was a great card with some great matches. We saw Roxanne Perez beat Jada Parker, I believe it is. And we saw the in-ring appearance. We had seen Julia in the NXT crowd, but she actually made her official appearance in NXT tonight, coming out after that match to have a stare down with Roxanne Perez. So that went down, along with a whole lot of other things. We had the main event match. All ego Ethan Page looking like $1 million, a bigger star than he ever looked in that other company. The NXT champion, all ego Ethan Page, the ego era, is it continuing as he took on TNA superstar, I believe, do you believe, in Joe Hendry? And Whoop That Trick was there as a special guest referee. Which trick did he whoop? As Trick Williams was a special guest referee in that match. And there was a great tag team match against Chase U, taking on the former champions Axiom and Nathan Frazier, with major implications after that match. What happened after that match? A lot to talk about there. NXT's getting exciting. It may be time for somebody, maybe a one-person show, maybe it'll be a two-man show, to start reviewing NXT. Maybe not after the show, but maybe there'll be an NXT review show on a Wednesday or Thursday, if we can get it worked out. No promises, but it looks like NXT is on fire enough that there's enough buzz that it may be time to start talking about it. And we also had on that card an amazing match. Whether you're a big fan of Zachary Wentz or not, him and Wes Lee had an amazing barn-burning match. And, of course, we all know that at TNA last event here, I forget what it was, just a couple days ago. Were you going to say what it was? Emergence?
Yeah.
Emergence. TNA Emergence we saw Zachary Wentz become the new X Division champion of TNA, which was featured on NXT tonight. So WWE showing a TNA title for the second or third time? Not something that happens very often, but amazing changes. And we're going to get into some of the big changes. We're going to talk about Triple H. There's a lot of stories with Triple H and a lot of other stories. We're going to break it down. We have Mr. Oh, I guess I should do this, right, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, the big time. You know me. I'm here with Mr. Clark, the man behind the Clark Report. And, of course, we got Mr. Z with the New Japan Rebound podcast, which comes out Tuesdays on Patreon, Wednesdays on here on YouTube. He's going to give you a little taste, a little sample of everything going down with, what is it, Capital Collision, Capital Combat, Capital Carnage, one of those?
Collision,
there you go. Capital Collision, a big event coming from New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's going to give you a little sample tasting of what's going on there. The G1 Climax is over. He's going to give you what's going to go down on that New Japan Rebound. He'll give you a little taste of why you want to come back and hear all that news and wrap it up in a beautiful blanket, serve it to you nice and hot like a pig in a blanket, put a little mustard on it, make it yummy, yummy in the tummy. Wow, yes, I know. I'm energized. I'm lit. I'm on fire. We're going to keep the ball rolling.
How much coffee did you have today?
I've had none. I just, you got to suck it up and bring it. Let's talk about the big change as tomorrow, and we'll be here tomorrow after Monday Night Raw with a post-show review of Monday Night Raw. 3 hours of Raw. We're going to give it all to you. The USA era coming closer and closer to an end as we move closer and closer to the end of 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, in 4 more months, yes, Monday Night Raw will be live on NXT, and the wrestling world and the wrestling landscape is going to change as it'll be uncensored. It's going to be a whole new world. With Monday Night Raw, the longest running episodic TV show in TV history, goes to Netflix. And live on Netflix. But who will be leading the commentary team? Well, we know that this Monday it's all changing as Joe Tessitore. And please forgive me, I'm not the pronuncier of names, but I'm going to give you that. But he's going to be confirming he's debuting tomorrow on Monday Night Raw at the Raw that is going to be the fallout from Bash in Berlin. Former ESPN Joe Tessitore is set to make his debut as a WWE commentator. It's going to change the landscape. We know Michael Cole has gone back to Friday Night SmackDowns, where he will work alongside, I believe, Corey Graves. As play-by-play announcer, Corey Graves will go back to handling his end, where he was originally. I don't know who. Wade Barrett will be joining him on commentary. So Monday nights, you're going to get Joe Tessitore and Wade Barrett on Fridays as SmackDown switches from Fox to USA Network. You're going to get Michael Cole and Corey Graves again for right now, and we can't wait for the college football season. The only thing you got to dislike about college football, and I love college football, got to talk about them dogs. I'm also a little bit of a volunteer fan. I guess my SEC, of course, I'm also from Oklahoma, so you got to have a little Boomer Sooner in there. I guess I'm an SEC fan, except I'm not going to, roll with the tide. But that's a whole different story. But the only bad thing about college football during this season is we literally lose one of the best commentators in wrestling when we lose Pat McAfee, because there's just something about Pat McAfee and Michael Cole. When they get together, the bromance is real, brothers and sisters. The bromance is real. But anyways, Joe Tessitore making his debut tomorrow on Raw, Monday Night Raw tomorrow. Yes, Monday Night Raw with Joe Tessitore on commentary. With Wade Barrett, we're going to get a new commentary team. Can't wait to see how that all plays out and how it all comes together. Gentlemen, what do you think of this change of the commentary teams? We've seen some commentary changes a lot more recently. And we know that Pat McAfee plays a big piece because he comes in and leaves, and then he'll be back, hopefully, from what we understand, shortly, sometime around Royal Rumble or there right after.
Yeah, it's like we know January. We just don't know the specific date yet.
So are you guys excited for Joe Tessitore coming from ESPN to become a commentator on WWE? Do you think he'll be able to fit in that mold where a lot of guys have been brought in that just never met it? And some of these people that come in, they've gone off to other places and been a little better. But what are your thoughts on Joe Tessitore?
You would have to bring into account that it's not under the redacted era. So they're not really they don't have someone yelling in their headset 24/7.
Oh, yeah, that's
they're
right.
able to allow,
you can't say this, you can't sneeze, you can't say that, you can't sneeze, don't cough.
Yes.
So yeah.
You can't say wrestling,
so they're
you
able-
must say sports entertainment.
Yes.
Yes, so you're able to really be yourself. And that's what wrestling is, folks. It's yourself just amplified 10 times. And by all means, if they let this man be himself, and Wade Barrett just kind of takes him by the reins and guide him the right way, there should be no issues.
I don't know anything about the new guy. I haven't heard any clips or anything, so we'll see how he does. But I kind of follow Mr. Z on that one, where I'm sure Wade Barrett can kind of help out. It'll be all right.
Yes, I think he'll be in good hands with that. It's going to be very interesting to see how it all plays out. We just got to give him the opportunity to do what he does and hopefully shine through. And we'll have to see how that all plays out. I had an article on here and it's disappeared. One of these big articles. Here we go. One of these big articles that's been coming out. Okay, maybe it's not working. Maybe that's why I'm not getting it. Maybe they've redacted their article here. I was going to go to the Ringside News to bring the article that was highlighted here about Triple H allegedly responsible for Ricochet not becoming a top guy in WWE. But for whatever reason, this article isn't opening. So I don't know if this is something they've removed because they've redacted it, retracted it, whatever the proper statement is there. I would have liked to know, and I hadn't had the chance to read it. I was going to read it here live with everybody. But I'm kind of confused on why there's so much blame on Ricochet being held back by Triple H of being a big star. I think Ricochet was getting a lot of shine in the Triple H era. First speed champion, if I'm correct there. But again, I mean,
yes.
Ricochet's a great talent and a great role. It just never came to fruition for his spot and to create a place to do. I mean, he is a former champion, if I remember correctly. I do believe he held either the U.S. or the Intercontinental champion at one point. I know he never made it to the world champion, but again, he was never really put in that spot, and I don't think he'll ever be put in the spot to be a world champion in AEW. And it's nothing against Ricochet and what Ricochet can bring, and I know Ricochet's been very vocal on Twitter fighting with fans who are kind of like, nah, your debut has been lackluster, you're going to be here and gone. They did already tease Ricochet and Will Ospreay, but then quickly swerved that into a different direction. So they're not completely rushing to that. But again, I think the talk for Ricochet and AEW is him and Will Ospreay to have a banger of a match. Will they have a banger of a match when they meet? Yes. But what does Tony Khan do with Will Ospreay, or what does Tony Khan do with Ricochet after that? I don't know. I don't have faith in this deep run of Tony Khan. I think Ricochet didn't debut in a way that made him feel important. He came number 10 at All In the Gauntlet. No major introduction, no big spotlight that stopped you. And I'm talking about, when we had, Mercedes Moné, even though she's been a major bust and about to break the bank of AEW, she had a big introduction. Will Ospreay had a big introduction. Adam Copeland, when he came to AEW, had his big introduction when he came out. When people have came over, like tonight, Julia showed up, had her music played after Roxanne Perez successfully defended the NXT Women's North American title or the NXT Women's title. I forget. I think it was the Women's NXT title, right?
Women's title.
Yes. The Women's title.
Yes.
Successfully defended that. After that, the smoke came out, the music came out. Roxanne Perez was like, who is this? And bam, here came Julia. And who can ever forget the greatest Royal Rumble debut in ages? When AJ Styles came out at number 3, that music hit. They showed Roman Reigns staring down the aisleway trying to figure out who it was. And when the words phenomenal popped across the screen, the crowd popped. All in. Mm-hmm. There was no pop for Ricochet. It was brief. It was short. He had a few spotlighting moments. But I'm like, I don't know what the future for Ricochet is. And I don't know why we got to show shade all the time at Triple H. Oh, Triple H held him back from being a star. Ricochet was there a lot longer under redacted.
You want that article read?
Okay, go ahead.
All right, so Triple H allegedly responsible for Ricochet not becoming a top guy in WWE. Ricochet's move from WWE to AEW has created a ton of buzz, especially after his impressive debut.
Where are you reading this
Ringside
from?
News.
Okay, you got into it. Cool. I like to make sure we give our sources just so they get credit, not yelling at us like, oh, you're quoting us.
Yes.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Ricochet's move, especially after his impressive debut at AEW All In. at Wembley Stadium. However, a wrestling veteran, and I'm looking at this and going, when I read further down who the veteran is, I'm kind of putting that in quotations.
Okay.
Anyways, has suggested that the 35-year-old star did not fully realize his potential in WWE due to Triple H's influence. Ricochet the Intercontinental and United States Championships, but he was never viewed as one of the company's top stars. He recently left WWE after his contract ended and joined AEW. While speaking on the Behind the Turnbuckle podcast, wrestling veteran Jonathan Coachman believed that Triple H was a factor in Ricochet not reaching the top level in WWE. Coachman explained that Triple H, who prefers storytelling and hard-hitting matches, might not have favored Ricochet's high-flying, spot-focused style. According to Coachman, Triple H's preferences influenced how Ricochet was utilized in WWE. And in quotations, I believe part of the reason he didn't make it in the WWE to the levels that a lot of people thought he would is because when you have Triple H, who's the head guy, and Triple H has always, his style was always storytelling. It was always hard matches that you really sell, the hair and all that. That was not Ricochet's style. It's a high spot after high spot after high spot. And I think for at least Triple H, and he's the end-all be-all, he just doesn't like that style on Major Superstar. Ricochet also explained why he feels leaving WWE for AEW was the right choice. Ricochet also won his AEW Dynamite debut last week, so we'll have to wait and see how Ricochet will fare in AEW in the coming weeks, as fans want him to succeed in a big way. Then it kind of just goes on to ask, do you believe Triple H was responsible for Ricochet never being the top guy in WWE?
Okay, Jonathan Coachman, his statements, I think you have to take it with a grain of salt. He's also made statements he never desires to return to wrestling in any form. I will take it with a grain of salt. I kind of understand where the storytelling weighs more heavily on Triple H, but I think Ricochet was being featured more with Triple H in the end, was finding storylines to be put into. I don't think Triple H is against a guy who can hit high spots. He knows those are going to be kept. Triple H doesn't hit to me as just storyline, but he is more in tune to what the fans want. And the fans want storylines. Wrestling's great when you can go out and watch wrestling, but when you want us to watch a show week to week to week to week and then tune into your big pay-per-views or PLEs, when you're on these levels like this, we need storylines to keep us driven. Just to watch a match and we see it and it's done, and there's no purpose to come back and watch that same match over or see what's next other than, we could go to independent wrestling all over the place and watch great matches, no doubt. But when you're on this big stage, we need something to drive us to be interested in these characters, to support these characters, and have a reason to be watching these matches and how they progress and be here to talk about it. So, I mean, yeah, I think storyline's important. Could Ricochet have been put in a great storyline? Sure. Did it ever develop into that? I think there was times, but again, I think a lot of Ricochet's time was more under redacted in Triple H. I think a lot of people are not letting Triple H. It's what, a year? I mean, have we even had a true full year of it being Triple H? Because we got Triple H, then Redacted came back in and got into the mix, and then they finally pushed him out, and then we just started getting Triple H coming into this. So it's really Triple H's first WrestleMania. We haven't even had the time for Triple H to get as the head, as the guy, his feet fully wet, in gear, in figuring out his pacing of how he wants this all to come together. I think it's just like, it irks me that people just want to slam on Triple H, like, oh, he's racist because he doesn't promote over people of color. And you're like, what? Where? How? Oh, he held back Ricochet because he didn't like his style. I'm like, have we even given this man a chance when most of the big storylines have already been filled? Ricochet was
it Triple H a big proponent of Ricochet when he was in NXT?
Yes.
Last time I checked, he was trying to push him to the moon.
And he did.
But people didn't watch that, right?
Yeah.
These people frustrate me.
I don't know. Jonathan Coachman's one thing. I'm not going to get too worked up about him, but again, it's just like people want to throw so much shade, and then they want to be all Tony Khan and want to baby him because he plays the victim.
The coach is mad because the last time we seen him on WWE television before he stopped broadcasting, his head was through a wall, and you seen him wearing a thong. That's what Coachman's mad about. He was getting embarrassed most of the time.
But that was under redacted, so he can get over his hoo-hoo.
Yeah.
Mr. Clark, your thoughts on any of that?
coach interviews are interesting, but you always have to take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Because like you said, because he has said publicly he has no interest in going back to WWE or any kind of wrestling. So he's just going to say whatever he wants with no consequences. And that can be good or bad.
That sounds like
It can be
Ronda
entertaining
Rousey.
or not.
Well, but
Ronda Rousey, though, is at least considering coming back now that Triple H is in complete control.
Ronda Rousey's changing her tune up now too. So I mean, Maven walks a fine line with some of the stuff he does. Maven tries to say the facts and more particularly to what he knows. And then with interviews, he talks to some people.
And he keeps it more during his timeline.
Yes.
Yes.
True.
During
But Coach just seems.
That's
to
why we
go
can't
out
get mad. Yeah. Maven, we can't really knock because, like you said, he does stick to his timeline. He talks about his time spent. He doesn't go past that. He doesn't go before that. Well, I mean, he kind of goes before that, but everyone had a dream at one point.
Anyways, speaking of redacted, it seemed like there was a documentary that got canceled, but now it's coming out. The Netflix is still going to do and making the Vince McMahon documentary titled "The Rise and Fall of Vince McMahon." A lot of people are trying to get upset because WWE, but again, WWE has nothing to do with this documentary in the sense that they don't have any direction out. Is footage going to be used that might be WWE affiliated? Is there a connection where they're going to do that? Possibly. But again, WWE is not a part of making this in a sense of they have much say on what's going to be said. It's going to be an interesting spiel.
They filmed interviews. That's it.
Yeah, and a lot of people are talking about, it's going to be a fair assessment. Maybe we're going to find more about Janelle Grant. I think everybody needs to let that go until that's done. I mean, I don't know why people are still spinning on this. Hell, even at Bash in Berlin and the post-show, Triple H was not there in Berlin because he flew home, or I guess he originally was over there, but flew back home to be with his daughter who was heading to college, just started college, which, congratulations to him and his daughter. I get why he would want to be there and not necessarily in Bash Berlin. So Cody Rhodes was heading up a lot of the press conference, and he opened that up and got asked about who's feeling John Janelle Grant, and then people want to throw shade at Cody because Cody didn't answer the question. I'm like, Cody answered the question. Like, we don't know anything about those details. We're not getting in that. We're here to focus on putting on a good show to entertain the fans. But asking these people about something that Vince did. Period. But the documentary. Your thoughts, gentlemen?
I think it's going to be interesting. I think my real reaction, though, is still more towards those questions that are being asked of WWE personalities. Like, they know everything. Like, they follow Mr. McMahon around.
I swear they were walking around holding his jock, but that's not even it.
Well, that was John Laurinaitis when his head wasn't up his Vincey boy's butt, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
Tastes good, Mr. McMahon.
Oh, Lord.
Anyways, in breaking news, and this should be exciting to Mr. Clark, ex-WWE star has inked a legend seal with the company. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new legend, probably going to see her in WWE 2K25, I think we'll get. But anyways, Victoria has inked a legend seal with WWE, former Divas champion, former TNA Knockout champion, Cara. Yes, Victoria is signed a legend seal with WWE. This should be a great opportunity to see what Victoria's going to add. Will just be a predecessor to her getting into the WWE Hall of Fame in the future. It's going to be interesting, Mr. Okay. But yeah. So your thoughts, gentlemen, on Miss Victoria signing a legend seal? We may see Victoria in some fashion in WWE. I guess if you want to go first, Mr. Z, go ahead. I know Mr. Clark's ready to party all night and get excited.
You gotta fan him down. He'll be all right.
Yes.
Possibly one of the nicest women I've met. I met at Stockton Con. Like, totally high praises for her WWE career. Even though at the time when I met her, she was still with TNA or Impact at the time. Like I see nothing wrong with this. If it leads her back in the ring one more time, that's cool. If it leads her to helping the younger women get to where they need to be a main event superstar, that's cool too. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with this.
Mr. Clark.
As I understand it, this Legends deal isn't so much about her getting back into the ring, but more about being a part of, documentaries, toy lines, little different things that can be merchandised. It may lead down to something, but we don't know.
Well, I'm sure. I'm not saying she'll get in
tuned.
the ring. I don't know if they'll use her as a manager. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't have her show up at NXT to do something. But yes, I understand they'll probably use this for merchandise, toy lines, be in WWE 2K25, and maybe lead to a Hall of Fame induction.
Possibly one of the greatest stories I've heard from her talking about it at Stockton Con during the panel was her Royal Rumble entry and all the women fighting over who was going to take the Widow's Peak. She said she's never been more humble in her life. How many of the young women were aching to take that finisher?
It's going to be awesome to see what Victoria does with her WWE Legends deal and what things will happen with WWE and her. What toy lines will come out? What merchandise will come out? Will we see her in an NXT ring? Will we see her in a WWE ring? Will she show up? Could she be a manager for somebody? Could she manage a group of women in this new era? Because there's a lot of great women in WWE between the main roster and NXT that could you really use a rub from a somebody like Victoria. So a lot of wait to see how that all comes together. Yeah. Who knows? Just because she's not necessarily ready to jump in the ring right now does not mean she may not wind up having a match in WWE again. We know Trish is still waiting for another one. I think Lita's kind of done with any in-ring returns, at least with WWE. Yeah. She may show up at indie shows, but we'll have to wait and see. So let's switch gears and let's talk about the former WWE Tag Team Champion, one half of the Awesome Truth. R-Truth. What happened to R-Truth and where has he been? Bronson Reed, of course, has been on an injury, causing chaos and injury, injuring superstars left and right. WWE.
So you're saying he's been a chaos master?
Something like that. He's been causing chaos. But during the August 12th episode of Monday Night Raw, Reed continues rampage by delivering 4 more tsunamis, then climbing up to hit another one more tsunami on R-Truth. In total, Reed executed 5 tsunamis. R-Truth was later provided a health update, revealing that he had cracked ribs. The former WWE Tag Team Champion took to Twitter and uploaded a video of himself rapping with tape around his ribs, still selling the gimmick at Lethal Weekend 7 event, which took place at the Jewel Music Venue in Manchester, New Hampshire on August 31st. So just last night, R-Truth was at Lethal Weekend 7 at the Jewel Music Venue in Manchester, New Hampshire, further selling the ring, but also taking part as he rapped on stage, on Twitter. R-Truth out there doing the thing. Gotta love R-Truth. Ron the Truth Killings. He's a class act that's always been underutilized. A former, and make sure I'm correct, Mr. Clark, he's a former NWA champion.
Yes.
NWA World Heavyweight
Champion.
Yes, he carried the 12 pounds of gold at one point while he was in NWA TNA, while they were still under that umbrella. And, and I believe if it was today on This Week in Wrestling History, where we discussed briefly that Adam Pearce won the vacated NWA World Heavyweight title after the NWA and TNA separated from each other. Mm-hmm. And that was today when Adam Pearce became the new NWA World Champion. I can't remember who he had that match with off the top of my head, but if you go look at this date in wrestling history, all right, there for you. But R-Truth, wrapping it up with his ribs all taped up.
And I'm quite sure the number one question of the day was, "What's up?"
What's up? For sure.
Is it just me, or is it, I'm thinking about this right now, that the 12 pounds of gold is still so prestigious even now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's insane. That belt's been around forever, long before we were born.
That's the point of the history and the legacy of that belt. And for the people who have carried it, and when you talk about names like Harley Race, Dusty Rhodes, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, they've all carried that 12 pounds of gold, and along with many other great names. I think Terry Funk carried that title at one time. I think the Great Muta had that title at one time.
Yes, the Muta did have it at one point.
I forget which Von Erich had that title at one time. The Von Erich that beat Ric Flair for that title. I forget which one did that. If that was, I think that was Kerry. I think
Wasn't it Kerry?
I think it was.
Yes,
Kerry.
that was Kerry.
Because I think it was supposed to be.
You gotta watch that movie. That movie will tell you exactly.
Well,
what
I've
happened.
watched it. It's just been a minute, and it's hard to keep all those names straight because you had Kevin and Kerry, and it was supposed to be, I think, David, but then David and all the other stuff that goes in that. There's so many legendary names that have held that 12-pound of gold, plus several names that are currently in WWE, like both general managers for Raw and SmackDown, Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis.
Yeah.
I both carried that 12 pounds of
Cody
gold.
Rhodes held the title at one point.
Cody Rhodes held that 12 pounds of gold.
He bet that whole stint with him and Aldis was probably the most beautiful wrestling just story going into that title match, because Cody Rhodes was giving up his Rolex for it.
I guess
for that title shot.
The most hated NWA 12-pound gold champion would have been Tyrus, though.
Yes, very much so.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Now, my only question to you, Mr. Z, and Mr. Clark, you might answer that. Is there one man who's won many, many, many world titles around the world, but it's never held the 12 pounds of gold? Is there one man named Kenny Omega?
Yes.
That one belt that Omega has not won? Maybe that's one belt Omega needs to go.
He has not held that title.
No.
Maybe that's one belt Omega needs to figure out how to win in his illustrious career at least one time. I mean, to be the true Kenny Omega, the true belt collector, would you not say he should at least try to win that belt one time?
Yeah, at least once.
If he can ever come back to wrestling. We don't know what his status is, and I hope he can. And you know what?
Yeah.
If he does come back, hey, if somebody get this to Kenny Omega. Kenny, you need to win the 12 pounds of gold. You need to win that NWA title belt one time. I would get with Tony Khan and make that happen. Billy Corgan, here's an opportunity. Kenny Omega, the NWA world title. That would be a classic. I think that's one belt that... Now, granted, he's never held the WWE world title, and that's fine and dandy. And if he ever goes to WWE, maybe he'll win it. But I think the 12 pounds of gold has more prestige and would definitely wrap up his illustrious career as a belt collector if he were to win that one.
Now, not quite on the same level, but recently EC3 just dropped the 12 pounds of gold to Tom Latimer, who used to be in Strictly Business that was led by Nick Aldis.
Yeah.
Yes. Everybody looks at it. I don't know if I'm right or wrong.
Who is the husband of Camille?
There you go.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Clark. Ultimo Dragon, has he held the 12 pounds of gold?
Ultimo Dragon, I don't think he's held the 12 pounds of gold. I didn't even know. Did he ever win a world title?
That's what I'm saying. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, he's got plenty.
I thought he only had cruiserweight titles.
International like titles. Indie main event titles.
Yeah.
But not.
I just want to correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. I just want to, because I have that picture of him with all his belts. I just wanted to make sure if that was what I was looking at.
A lot of those at that time were cruiserweight and similar light heavyweight, junior heavyweight, kind of titles. And he has had main event titles of indie companies, but not the NWA World Heavyweight title.
Right. Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
I think Kenny Omega needs to make a charge at that, whether he needs to work with Tony Khan and make that happen, or go on an independent run in America and win that title for one time. Speaking of,
I'll tell you right now, if that ever does happen, that could be at an arena or an arena anywhere, and it will sell.
Billy Corgan wants to make a major event, he's going to get whoever he can as NWA champion to be the top guy of NWA, whoever if he can get to be on that level and put Kenny Omega in that match for that title. They could probably sell out any stadium around the world easily if you have Kenny Omega challenging for the NWA title. I think you could sell a 10,000 plus arena simply based on Kenny Omega going for the NWA title, because Kenny Omega carries that much weight and the NWA title carries that much weight that this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. The one belt that has eluded Kenny Omega in his illustrious career. Look at this. Tony Khan, we're selling it for you. Billy Corgan, we're selling it for you. We're telling you, a once in a lifetime. The one belt that Kenny Omega has never held on to. The one belt he's never won. Holy crap. Talk about, you want to go back to Wembley and sell it out? NWA, AWA crossover, bam.
Oh yeah.
All you really have to do is give him like a 3-month title reign.
Yes. No, and I'm not saying
That's
he has
it.
to have a long.
Let him defend the belt a little bit here and there, and then he's done. I just, because it makes me think about when you talk about selling out arenas. I mean, look at Ric Flair during his career. How many arenas he sold out just on name value alone with his belt.
Come on, baby.
I mean,
you don't think the American Dream sold out those many venues?
Oh,
too,
yes,
baby?
he
You
did.
know?
I'm talking about the event that should have happened at the Candlestick. It was supposed to be an NWA heavyweight title match. That never happened. Instead, it happened at the Cow Palace, which is just as good. But to see an event that would have been held at Candlestick would have been beautiful.
Anyway, speaking of TNA, we have some news and rumors, spoilers on plans for WWE and NXT stars during the next TNA television tapings. TNA Wrestling, and discovered from Ringside News, and WWE are known for their history of collaborations. Renewed their partnership in May when Jordan Grace made an appearance on NXT. This rekindling of their relationship has let yo. What's up, Esteban? Welcome to the party. Welcome to the show. Thank you for showing up and showing out. Tell us how you're liking everything you're hearing. Dude, you missed out on some great wrestling action. You need to check out Supreme Pro Wrestling. Anyways, TNA, WWE have rekindled the relationship and have a partnership. In fact, we now have a spoiler plans for NXT stars during the latest TNA wrestling tapings. The WWE and TNA partnership continues to make headlines, and it's easy to see why. The two promotions regularly exchange talents with stars like Tatum Paxley, the Rascals, Joe Hendry, the No Catch Quarter Crew, make an appearance on each other's show. And even tonight, some big names crossing over. We had Joe Hendry taking on All Ego Ethan Page for the NXT World title, or the NXT title. You had Zachary Wentz of the Rascals taking on his former tag team partner in NXT, Wes Lee. So, what is going down? Well, we had reported that the likes of Ariana Grace and Carmen Petrovich were backstage during the latest taping to TNA Impact on August 31st at Old Foresters Paris Town Hall in Louisville, Kentucky. Now, you can say Louisville, you can say Louisville. It don't matter. We're not going to get into technicalities. If you get offended by how I say Louisville, I don't know what to tell you. Regarding Carmen's plans during the TNA television taping, she ended up answering the open challenge held by TNA Knockouts champion Jordan Grace. So coming up, you're going to have Carmen Petrovich, and I hope I'm saying that one right, taking on Jordan Grace for that TNA's Knockout champion. And then the likes of Rosemary have also made their way to NXT television. Nonetheless, we'll have to see whether more NXT stars will make their presence felt on TNA as the partnership clearly grows. What are your guys' thoughts on TNA WWE crossover, especially after the big event tonight? No Mercy. What a show. But overall, how are you liking this partnership and how it's growing?
At first, I was kind of wondering if it's going to be a little one-sided, just because of how other teams have done other things, other promotions.
Yeah, but you did it.
But it's actually worked out quite well. And even at the TNA taping here, you talk about Ariana Grace will be showing up on NXT TV, TNA TV. Like, that's Santino's daughter, who's the director of Authority in TNA.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't think they're going to have any scenes together, but just the fact that there's that kind of family, lineage, legacy connection there, I think it's always kind of a nice spot.
No, I think it's great.
I'm still kind of getting into
Petrovich.
Overall, I agree with you completely. I like the crossovers between the two companies. Thank you.
Yes.
Keep it up. And I mean,
I've
Henry.
never been able to say her name.
Joe Henry is going to be the biggest star coming out of this crossover. I mean, we already have this man can sign a WWE contract and go to the main roster and debut at. I mean, I'm hoping this guy comes out at Royal Rumble. Do you imagine the pop this guy would get at any number, especially number 30? I mean, if this man comes out in the Rumble and it's like, say his name, and that place is going to go off. It's gonna be fun.
I've got nothing. I've got no complaints with this crossover. The definition of 50-50 booking done right. There's a lot of give and take between these two companies. You know, it's not lopsided like it was when they were trying to deal with Tony, but it's just it's a peaceful agreement, and the fans are into it. I'm looking forward to what's next with this.
All right. News report coming from Ringside News. The reason behind WWE's Bad Blood 2024's early start time. We haven't heard anything too much about Bad Blood, but we know that this is coming up. No, wait, Bad Blood. No. Is Bad Blood the one coming out in October?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Bad Blood's the one that's returning. Okay. I don't know why.
Yes.
Yes, Bad Blood's the one, the Hell in the Cell. Bad Blood is, yes, okay. Bad Blood is going to start at an earlier time. Why is that going to happen? Anyways, coming from Ringside News, WWE has an exciting lineup of events planned, and with Triple H in charge of the company's creative direction, many changes have been introduced. One of those changes including the return of an older pay-per-view event, Bad Blood, which hasn't been seen in a long time. The event officially making its comeback this October, and the reason behind its early start time have been revealed. WWE's Bad Blood event is part of the company's celebration of the anniversary of the first ever Hell in a Cell match, which happened on October 5th, 1997. Bad Blood is scheduled to take place on Saturday, October 5th, 2024. So 27 years we're going back. It was the historic event where The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels until we saw, by God, it's gotta be Kane! It's gotta be Kane! Yes, we saw the legendary debut of the man known as Kane, or formerly known as Dr. Isaac Yankem, but he looks so much better under a mask then. So, anywho, we love you, Kane. We love you, Clint Jacobs. No, don't take it the wrong way. It's all with a slap on the chin. Anyways, WWE Bad Blood 2024 will air at a special start time in October, even though it's a premium live event in the U.S. The event set for the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia, baby, where the best baseball team in Major League Baseball plays. And they're on a hot streak right now. Anyways, it's going to take place on Saturday, October 5th. It's scheduled to start
play there.
You what? I didn't even catch what you said.
You don't want it.
I go, the A's don't play there.
Oh,
You see what I mean? You don't want it.
The A's really don't get to play anywhere anymore, except, in next season they get to play in Sacramento. Anyways. It's scheduled to start at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This early start time is not a mistake. And according to PW Insider, the reason for this early start is due to direct competition with another event from TKO. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, UFC 307, which will be held at the same evening at the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. So WWE has chosen to start their match or their show earlier to not conflict with the TKO event taking place in Salt Lake City, Utah. So there you go.
2-for-1 special that night. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, that's what they've been
I can
talking
jump
about.
from one to another.
That's what they've been talking about for a while. Now we talk about everybody's favorite female wrestler, the highest paid female wrestler, not the highest paid wrestler in wrestling anymore, because obviously I guess that goes to Sword now, who has re-signed with AEW and is being the highest paid wrestler from what all the rumors and speculation is that they paid, that Tony Khan paid him so much it blew out anything WWE could even offer him. Now, is it worth it? I don't know. But let's talk about.
You go ahead and keep doing that dance. I'm not touching that subject.
Let's talk about Mr. Z.
I will not touch that subject.
Let's talk about one of Mr. Z's idols is love interest. Yes, one Kazuchika Okada, who's obsessed with the Monet. Yes, Mercedes Moné confirmed she's altered title match finish after suffering an injury. She altered a title match finish after suffering an injury. Mercedes Moné has made significant impact in AEW. I'm sorry, that's not true. I can't lie. I don't care who wrote it. She's not made a significant impact in AEW. I'm sorry, I can't. It's too hard to say that. Since her arrival, she's wasted no time in becoming the TBS champion. Oh, I wonder why that is. And of course, she is Mr. Z's favorite, New Japan Pro Wrestling Women's Strong Champion. In fact, she confirmed that she made the call to change the finish to a title match due to an injury This happened at New Japan Pro Wrestling Resurgence in 2023. Mercedes Moné competed in one night tournament to crown the inaugural Strong Women's Champion in the final match. Moné was facing Alpha Will against Will Nightingale, was on track to win. However, things took a turn when Moné slipped from the top turnbuckle and injured her heel. Following the accident, the match quickly ended with Nightingale pulling off a surprising victory over Moné. So basically, she's talking about how she gave the title there, and people are trying to talk that up. Like, I don't even know why we're here. It does look like she has creative control over a lot of her matches in AEW. Like, she has final say in a lot of what's going on in there. A lot of reports. I haven't seen Meltzer Stars, which should have came out. I heard even Meltzer didn't rate this very high, but he rated other matches like the Jack Perry, Darby Allin, a 5-star match. And I'm like, yeah. But we won't get on the Meltzer train. We won't get on the Meltzer. No, we'll stay away for the little boy that 3 men came along and picked up and made all his dreams come true. The original elite that keeping him going on with his little nephew, Tony Khan. I guess we have to be a little mad at Omega, because if it wasn't for Omega and the Elite, they wouldn't have brought the dreams of Dave Meltzer and 5-star, 6-star ratings to life.
Dave Meltzer in the dirty bedroom. I mean, what else can you say?
Moné has not been a big impacting star. Her match with Britt Baker was not that great. It should have been better. And, of course, it was put over the women's title, which the women's title match between Mariah May and Toni Storm was far better than what we got between... Well, yes, and everywhere.
Yes.
What we got between Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker. And not because Britt Baker... And I know a lot of people are trying to say Britt Baker tried to sandbag Mercedes Moné, and I'm just like, everybody wants to go after Britt Baker. It's because Mercedes Moné is not as good as she thinks she is. Sorry, Mercedes Moné.
Britt was trying to carry dead weight. Let's leave it at that.
Sorry, Mercedes Moné. It's a fact. You are not that good on your own volition. You can't even do your finishing maneuver correctly. How many times has she failed trying to do that?
Oh, boy.
I have not seen her hit it once and make it look good. I have not seen it once.
She's only done it once. And that was at the event I went to, and that was because Kairi Sane knew how to take it. She had to throw herself over for that finisher.
But I mean, it's like
the only time she hit it decent.
I don't see what Mercedes Moné is doing in AEW that's moved anything. They're aligning more of Kazuchika Okada having
dancing like Mr. Clark.
Yes. That's all she can do right is dance. And all you say is like, oh, Sasha Banks is an AEW. And then she goes, no, I'm Mercedes Moné. I'm the CEO. And then they got to pump in a crowd overbearing chant to get the crowd. I'm sorry.
The crowd doesn't even do anything. They're just sitting on their hands.
I'm sorry, Mercedes Varnado. You are not you're not what Sasha Banks is. Goodbye. Gentlemen, your thoughts on Mercedes Moné?
I mean, should we just jump in?
I don't want to dump on this woman anymore. We've done it so much.
I hate dumping on her. It makes me feel bad because I do want to enjoy her. I do respect
you
what
should
Sasha
see
Banks does.
the depth of this hole. I keep digging as I bury this. I got nothing. My golden shovel's broken. I can't dig anymore.
It's just sad. It's just really like the most sad thing I've seen, that there's this woman that we had respect for who talks about creating a... And again, we've had 2 women come into AEW who talked about creating a revolution. Saraya, who's still Saraya, and you know, I guess we got to take a little back. Go, okay, maybe it wasn't Alberto Del Patron that made her as crazy. She's just naturally crazy because she's... And I love Saraya, and I want to see where Saraya succeed. I hope she goes back to WWE under that umbrella as Paige. I think in those parameters, she does better. And I think Triple H will put her in the right places. Again, Saraya on her own, under her own volition, I don't know what to do with her. And the same thing goes for Mercedes Moné. And both these women are like, oh, we're going to create a revolution. I don't see you creating anything.
The crickets.
Yeah.
I'm still looking for that
And
revolution.
it's bad. It is bad. It is that bad when Mr. Clark has no rebuttal to my statements. He's usually the defender, or at least has some rebuttal, or at least can find some trace of a cookie.
He put the cape away today. He usually has a Superman cape on, but it's not there today.
He's not Captain Save-A-Ho. I was going to go, at least
because they have the talent, but the booking is so bad that even with the greatest talent, they have a very talented roster, especially in the women's division of AEW. But if you're not used properly, there's nothing that talent can do.
Jim Ross talking about something very key here, and I hope that people are listening because Jim Ross, I can finally agree with Jim Ross on something. Jim Ross cautioning AEW against rushing Ricochet's progress. That's a damn fact. Ricochet moved from WWE to AEW has created a ton of buzz, especially after his impressive debut. It wasn't impressive. Who was impressed? Please tell me what Ricochet did at All In that was impressive. That made that debut feel special. That wasn't
Not
just
his way out of catering.
That was not just Ricochet walking into the ring, doing the same moves we've been seeing on WWE. What did he do to make it impressive? Somebody please tell me what was impressive about his debut. The music sucked. His entrance sucked. He did the same moves he's been doing in WWE. He didn't add anything to it. He came out at number 10, which was way too far down the list. They didn't have him as number 1, number 2, or the final entry.
I think the number's irrelevant. Everything else you're saying I agree with, but the number I think is irrelevant.
I think you have better advantages in certain places to get that pop or make that moment special. Again, they could have probably done it at 10 if they would have made the moment special.
That's my point out of all that.
Anyways, however, Jim Ross is, and again, somebody tell me what the Ricochet did that was impressive. I didn't see anything that was impressive, different, solidified, like he is here in AEW to do something. It was like he came out for a WWE match, didn't win, and disappeared, came out on Dynamite to about the same lustering fanfare. There was not a pop. There was not a pop at all in for Ricochet. There was that brief, yo, and it was like it died faster than it started. Anyways, Jim Ross has advised AEW to avoid rushing Ricochet's progress, which I totally have been stating here, so maybe even Jim Ross is listening to us. Although Ricochet didn't win the Casino Gauntlet at AEW All In, he made a significant impression on fans with his performance. Lies.
He didn't make an impression on you. Maybe he made an impression on other people.
I guess he made a significant
don't know who, don't know how or why.
He made a significant impression on the writer who wants to hype this up. Anyways.
Right. There you go.
His high-fly moves and dynamic style, even during
The
his
writer
brief
must be
time.
following someone's Instagram.
His brief time in the match showcased his skills and established him as a major presence. Yes, Mr. Clark, I know somebody saw him as a major presence in AEW. He's a major presence? Okay. I love Ricochet.
Somebody else on the roster.
I love you, Ricochet. I love what Ricochet's done. I just can't buy. I can't sell this. I'd love to sell it. I love if it was actually true. I would rather it be true so I can sell it and be excited about it and, but it wasn't, and I can't sit here and lie, and I can't feed into an ego for something that wasn't there.
We can't sell ice to an Eskimo for this one.
Oh, I could sell ice to an Eskimo if I really
I'm sorry,
wanted
Ricochet.
to. But this, I'm not going to blatantly lie to get it there.
No, not with this. Not with this. You can't. There's no way.
And I respect Ricochet, and I want him to be
happening.
successful in AEW. I just don't believe it's going to be there. I think it's going to be a big regret. Anyways, well, speaking on this Grilling JR podcast, Jim Ross cautioned AEW against rushing Ricochet's progress. He noted that many AEW wrestlers are highly athletic and perform impressive spots, making it important for Ricochet to stand out over time. According to Ross, wrestling fans, especially casual ones, remember the last time they saw a particular spot, and these moves often come with new names and backstories. He hopes AEW will allow Ricochet to develop organically, as he is not fully over yet. While acknowledging Ricochet's potential in athleticism, Ross emphasized the need for him to establish his offense and master the fundamentals before moving forward. And I quote, and this is what he actually said, I think this is what Jim Ross said, I think that the thing that we have to be cautious about is not rushing the progress, because so many guys in AEW are athletic to the level of doing amazing spots. It takes time to differentiate yourself from those guys. To some wrestling fans who are more casual, they remember the last time they saw a particular spot. It's got a name and so forth. All those moves and finishes now have backstories, which is fine. But if that's the case, we can agree on that. Then hopefully AEW will not rush Ricochet because he's not over right now. People love to see him. He was a surprise, and I've said it many times here on this show. Wrestling fans love new and love to be surprised, and Ricochet checked both of those boxes at Wembley, but let's let him get over. I love the kid. He's got a great upside. He's so athletic, but let's let him establish some of his offense, watch him excel in his fundamentals, and see where it takes him. And I'm a big component of that. We need to let Ricochet organically grow and develop and not be rushed into a big match with Will Ospreay just because the fans want it too soon or Tony Khan wants to go there real quickly. We got to let Ricochet establish himself because he is now in the land of spot monkeys. And people can hate me that, but a lot of what happens in AEW is everybody trying to get their moves in, these big impressive moves. A lot of times it's just car wrecks because everybody's beating their bodies. I mean, you look at everything Will Ospreay does. We see what the Young Bucks do. We see what Darby Allin's matches are becoming, these insane, over-the-top high spots. Jack Perry trying to reach into that same grab bag of these. It's just like everybody does these spots. And Ricochet really doesn't necessarily, on paper, if you write it out, stand out on an AEW roster where everybody does all those things. And, of course, yes, we're probably going to see a Will Ospreay Ricochet match where they're going to jump at each other from the top ropes and fight in midair and spend time and disbelief, but
spot monkey.
But the buzz between Ospreay and Ricochet is based on Spot Fest.
Yes.
Before he came to WWE, the matches they had, that's kind of their thing. So for Ricochet to be in AEW is not a problem. But like JR says, you need to give him time to find ways to make a difference now between kind of the style that they all do.
He's not really going into a pool where he's different. In WWE, he was somewhat different. They didn't ever see him as I guess I have to agree. I don't know if I could ever buy Ricochet as the face of WWE, as a world champion. Could it happen? Yes. But was he ever really going to be the real face of WWE without a real good driven storyline?
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't understand why they didn't impose that. That is kind of management's and creative's deal. Is to put him into spots that it would have been interesting from a creative standpoint. Ricochet, obviously, as far as the in-ring work,
right,
that's his deal. But it's creative's deal to give him good creative to try to create more interest into those matches.
And again, we have to rewind. Ricochet would have never fit Redacted's image of a main event world champion.
Right.
Unless Redacted walked himself into a Kofi Kingston corner where he had to put the world title on Ricochet to pay off or make the fans happy. That was the only way under that one. Then when Triple H took over, Ricochet was, a year? I mean, it's hard to take somebody who was not really anybody in a year and really propel him to that level. Now, if Ricochet would have stayed around and been wrestling a Braun Breaker, would you really be? Yes, you can.
Can be done, yes, but I do acknowledge that it's hard because there's so many other people, there's so many other plates, if you will, that are spinning at the same time.
Exactly. You've got to take all the other elements. Where would Ricochet fit into that world title picture? Now, if he would have stayed around, it might have been the right time for him because he could have continued his feud with the Intercontinental Champion Braun Breaker. Ricochet and Gunther, we already seen them in a couple matches, and they had enough storyline to enter him into a feud with Gunther at that level. So there was opportunities there. And with the Cody Rhodes around, who knows if Cody wouldn't have helped pull up Ricochet and say, let's do an open challenge and give Ricochet a shot. There are more people that Triple H is more open to what people are saying and listening. And I think Triple H would have possibly started giving Ricochet into a main event spotlight where people would have seen him that way. Because you've got to break down the hardcore fans and the casual fans. Do the casual fans who wrestling predicates to, because the casual fans are who they need to watch. The diehard fans were already there. We're going to be there. So it's the casual fans they got to in. Now, selling to a casual fan that Ricochet's a world champion is a different story than the hardcore fans. And I think sometimes we get so zoned out like, they could have done this. And it could have. They could have at any time made him a world champion or put him in a storyline. But again, it's also predicating to what the casual fans are going to.
I'm not saying that he would have been world champion, but I think they could have done better with his creative to make him a bigger star in general.
Yes. But again, I go back. He was mostly there under the Redacted era, and Redacted was never going to look at him as that guy. He was going to go out there and jump around and do his frou-frou things and, you know, give the fans a little bit, but he was never going to be the guy. Somebody that should be the guy in NXT. Could this man show up and end the all ego era? And could we say that it would be very interesting because this man would be coming from AEW to WWE to NXT? Could we have back-to-back former AEW stars that got the ball dropped on him? Ricky Starks. What's going to happen there? And Ricky Starks just came out and says he denies turning down creative plans with AEW. Ricky Starks is a standout talent in AEW since 2020. He has been absent from television since late March this year. He recently addressed and dismissed rumors that he had rejected creative ideas from AEW. On the 30th of March episode of AEW Collision, Ricky Starks appeared to suffer an injury during a tag team title tournament match where he and Big Bill faced Top Flight. This match marks his last appearance on TV and has not been seen since. A fan took to Twitter and commented on Ricky Starks saying that anyone aiming to be a top champion needs to first prove they can handle smaller tasks. The fan suggested that Stark's attitude towards these smaller opportunities, pouting and disagreeing with creative decisions was the main reason he didn't receive bigger opportunities. And Starks came back and literally said this, and I quote, literally anyone who's going to be pushed. Oh, this is what the fan said, sorry. Ricky Starks replied, enough is enough. Usually I don't even speak to this, but it's speak on this, but it's tried. Usually I don't even speak to this, but it's tired. I never turn down anything, ever. Just stop. So, Ricky Starks says enough. Usually I don't speak to on this, but it's tired. In the statements, I've never turned down anything, ever. Just stop. Basically saying he's tired of the people spreading rumors. He's never turned down anything with AEW. And I think AEW and the big news rumor there is Tony Khan's just letting him cool down because he knows Ricky Starks is going to go to WWE. And I think that's where Ricky Starks needs to be. In AEW, he's a little fish in an overwhelming pond where he has the talent to shine bright and be kind of like MJF. But I don't think they're going to let him get to that level. I think he could show up in NXT and be a major player. And I think we have one of the greatest heels. This man is so close to The Rock that we haven't seen somebody like this in a while. Your thoughts, gentlemen?
Ricky Starks has all kinds of potential. We've got to see a little bit of it in NWA Power. We got to see a smidgen of it in AEW. But NWA wasn't a big enough place to, really let him shine because they just don't have that reach back then, let alone now. And so really the only real option is in NXT or main roster WWE to really get behind him and really show what he can do. He's got the talent, but he needs the platform.
Mr. Z, your thoughts?
I'm with you on that one. I'm totally with Mr. Clark on that one. I feel like he needs to be on a bigger platform with more of a reach so people could take him serious. I feel that he can bring a lot to NXT and be used to his full potential. I mean, look at the ones that have came before him. Look where they're at now.
Speaking of AEW and other things, All Out coming out this Saturday, September 7th. We know the main event is going to feature the AEW World Champion, the newly crowned champion in his retirement tour, I guess we should say, with an open challenge. Defending the AEW World Championship, Bryan Danielson will take on the TNT champion, Jack Perry, because it's an open challenge, and somebody decided that. And the only reason they're doing this is because they're leaning on the history of Jack Perry with CM Punk. All In is going to be in Chicago. So they set up an open challenge, so they had a good reason to put Jack Perry in there. They think Jack Perry's going to get the pop or the fan chant. The only reason I can assume Jack Perry's being put in this spot is because it's going to be in Chicago. His history with CM Punk. They're still leaning on that crap. Unless anybody else can give me a good, valid reason that Jack Perry deserves a world title shot. His match.
Did you hear the crazy stuff that Tony Khan was saying during his scrum? oh, it's been a great environment since he's been gone, but not really putting his name out there. They can't live without him.
They can't let go of what CM Punk did and brought to AEW.
He lives rent free. Why ain't he getting paid by them?
But I can't see any other reason. I had to look at this and try to figure this out, because when they told me Jack Perry was wrestling Bryan Danielson at All Out in Chicago for the AEW World Title, I'm like, his match with Darby Allin, even though supposedly he got cut, don't care. It sucked. It was not that good of a match. It wasn't one of the better Darby Allin matches. It didn't elevate either guy. Granted, he won, but what qualifies him to be a contender for the world champion other than, granted, I know Mr. Clark will go, well, it's an open challenge. So anybody, I get that. Yeah. But the only basis that I think
you're continually looking beyond the reasons they gave you. That's the real issue there. They gave you the reason. Whether you like it or not, it's a completely different story.
Well, I don't like
it. They gave you the reason.
He doesn't deserve it.
Well, I'm going to give you guys a heads up right now. I will be drinking a lot during that show, so there will be no filter on me.
The only thing I can say to add to it is
1 cerveza, 2 cerveza, 3 cerveza floor.
Yes, there you go.
1 tequila, 2 tequila, 3 tequila floor. Yes, anywho. But that was, when I really looked at it, I'm going, the reason they're doing that is because Jack Perry's history with CM Punk. What Jack Perry did when New Japan went into Chicago, they got enough in an uproar. And I'm like, they're putting Jack Perry in this main event basically to get attention around Jack Perry because of the heat in Chicago. And I will laugh if the fans turn against him and the CM Punk chants ring through the arena in Chicago. That'll be the bigger funny thing if they're trying to curtail. But of course, the AEW hardcore fans will say CM Punk chants or CM Punk sucks in Chicago because they got to be loyal to their daddy, Tony Khan.
Jack Perry's already a heel. Whether you think he's entertaining or not, is a completely different story.
Yeah.
But the fans are not going to turn on Jack Perry because they're supposed to boo him anyways.
Well, but I mean, the point of the matter, I think they're going in there to think he's going to get some rub or some cheers because he's the anti-Punk guy like he got when he came out as the...
I don't think they're looking for cheers per se. Maybe some kind of small chant. Maybe.
Well, when he came out as the heel in New Japan Wrestling, and he got the cheers and the the CM Punk chants from when he went in there with New Japan. So I think they're thinking that they're going to get some moment there. Because Jack Perry doesn't need to be in the ring. He's not on that level. He hasn't done anything to do it. I mean, Bryan Danielson's going to have to. He
is the TNT champion. How dare you, sir?
Because he's the junior young buck buddy, but excuse me, not butt buddy. But anyways, never mind. My bad, your fault. We won't go there.
Oh,
I thought you said young buck buddy.
Yeah, young buck buddy is what I meant.
Oh no,
I didn't want anybody to think I said butt buddy. I was like, no, it's the young buck buddy, not buddy. Anyways, never mind. Delete it all from your memory.
I think you're right the first time.
You don't remember anything that was said just now.
This is a mind trick.
Yes. That's the reason Tony on at the TNT Championship. He doesn't deserve to be in the ring with Bryan Danielson. He's not on a Bryan Danielson level by far. Bryan Danielson's going to have to carry this little boy to...
Who in AW is? Outside of what? Maybe Samoa Joe?
Ospreay, Joe, MJF.
Where's Joe? Speaking of him...
I think he's
last I heard he was filming for Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
Okay. At least he's out for a legit reason. He didn't get...
Ospreay, okay. Joe, Swerve just proved he was on that level. MJF. I mean, there's guys that,
The point, though, is it's still a short list.
Yeah. No, I'll give you that. But Jack Perry is nowhere near that. Jack Perry shouldn't even be in the ring with Bryan Danielson at this point. Like, Bryan Danielson should be running circles around this little boy. I mean, he's going to have to carry him through this match to make him even look good. And I don't even know how he's going to pull that off.
Marty Richards should be doing some kind of speech for the scapegoat.
That's a hard one to sell, even in that.
Yeah, even for Marty. Marty's good, but he's not that good.
And then
he can't make miracles happen.
The big match, the fourth match, I guess, between Swerve Strickland and Hangman Page, which people are coming out and saying This is the new Austin Rock feud.
Oh, hell no.
Yes, there's people on
saying
Twitter.
that?
There's people on Twitter who are proclaiming
How
that
dare
Swerve
you,
and
people?
Hangman
How
is the
dare
new
you?
Rock Austin feud of the future. That this will live in the annals of time like the Rock and Austin. And I'm like,
That is an insult
Hangman,
to
Get
any.
off the powder. That's all I got to say to those people.
so you're
Get off
telling
the
me
powder.
that the Hang Booch, who got choked out by Swerve the last time they got in the ring, or no, they lost. He had another match and lost. He hasn't beaten Swerve. He hasn't been able to stop Swerve from winning the title. He didn't really. I guess you can say he cost Swerve the title at the oh my god, no. Anyways, this feud
No, not
is
really.
this feud is not that
You got to
good.
move past this. You're gonna.
This
we're gonna
feud's
lose
not
it.
that
You're
good
gonna-
because
I'm
it
gonna-
has not elevated Hangman. That's the key. Austin Rock elevated each other up the ladder together. They came up the ladder together. And then you threw Triple H in there, who worked his way in there. These guys came up that ladder at the same time at the right moment. Hangman was already kind of semi-established. Swerve has come up and surpassed Hangman. Hangman's the last cause. AEW has damaged Hangman in a lot of ways. And I don't know how you're going to revitalize him. They've had the moments, and they've let them go. They
They put him with Dark Order. That's how you do it.
Well,
Make
I'm
him
not
look
even
like a
talking
clown.
about that. After he got hung by Schwartz, after a man broke into his house, harassed his baby, so quote unquote, we know the baby wasn't really there. We can break kayfabe there, but broke into his house, harassed his baby, not just his kid, his baby. Okay, and Mr. Z knows there's a difference between there's a kid, but then when it's a baby who's completely defenseless, who can't do anything, it's just that much higher. And Swerve choked out the Hangman. The Hangman has never gotten his retribution. Now, granted, he has to win here. By God, I hope he wins. To hopefully put it into this feud now.
He ain't
because
winning.
I don't
He
know.
ain't winning.
I don't know. He has to though. He has to overcome Swerve.
But you're not Tony Khan. You're not booking.
I know.
I'm talking from a Tony Khan standpoint.
Hangman is a nobody at this point. They just kind of flushed him down the toilet. I mean, he has to do something pretty impressive here to get over Swerve and feel like he's projected to that next level. This has done nothing for Hangman. Swerve, and I don't even know if it's really done much for Swerve. And then they did the boo-boo of giving Swerve the title, and then they were like, oh, we put the title on him. And then when they thought about having him lose the title, all the backlash came out, and they're like, oh, we can't do that yet. And I don't care if Ospreay comes out and says, oh, I wanted to lose the sword so I could help his title reign look good. Whatever.
No, Ospreay, you've turned into a Boots too. Let's get real.
Anyways, let's talk about everybody's favorite guy in professional wrestling, and especially if you're an AEW fan, wrestler, worker, or Tony Khan. This man's name lives rent-free in your head. Let's talk about the winner from Bash in Berlin. Let's talk about CM Punk. Yeah, CM Punk had an interview after his match at Bash in Berlin where he talked about his match with Kathy Kelly, where he talked about reclaiming his bracelet, and the feud with Drew McIntyre is now over. He is now done with Drew McIntyre. He's made his point, and he's moving on, and he's looking at becoming the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Could we be seeing the best in the world against the world? I mean, I don't know what you call Gunther. I mean, I love to see the match, but I don't know if I'm ready to see it right now because I can't see Punk winning. Like, I'd rather see Punk and Gunther face where I can at least have some belief that CM Punk might be the reason that Gunther is going to lose it. Maybe this is going to be building into the Royal Rumble because I don't think Drew is going to be done with Punk now. We have 1-1. It's the score. We got Bad Blood. This match needs to be in Hell in a Cell. There is no other match on WWE TV right now that is screaming, this is a Hell in a Cell match. Now, I know a lot of people can say, well, the Bloodline storyline. I wouldn't want to put Roman and Solo Sikoa in a steel cage at Bad Blood and then run it back at the end of November where we go into War Games. That goes to War Games. Punk Drew McIntyre in a Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood. That's where this is going to go. Now, Punk wants to, if they want to build Punk to getting to the Rumble, maybe having him bump into Gunther, start giving that rub. So when CM Punk, who should be winning the Royal Rumble this year, so he can get his main event at WrestleMania, and hopefully it's against Gunther. Whether he wins or loses, I don't care at that point. At least then I will believe that CM Punk might have a chance to win. But it'll be a hard one to call because I love CM Punk and want CM Punk on a personal level to win. But on the other side, everything Gunther's done, I'm like, I don't know where you're going to end Gunther's reign. And whoever beats Gunther Reigns needs to be somebody super special. Needs to be somebody that's...
Yes.
And don't give it to John Cena. For the love of God, Hunter, please.
Uh-oh. Who said that?
Nobody said that.
Who said that?
I did. Nobody said that.
Give me a heart attack.
Well, I just had a thought because it needs to be somebody special. And they might go, well, to have Cena have his last reign to beat Ric Flair's record, he could beat Gunther. I could see the logic in the storyline there, and I'm just kind of like, no, let's not do that. It needs to be, I mean, Gunther could be a world champion who can make the next world champion. That's all I'm trying to say. But I want to see CM Punk win it. Yes, go ahead, Mr. Clark. He's about to...
Your next world champion, American made, Chad Gable.
Could be a great feud to go back and revisit. I'm not necessarily against it. I just hate the American made, American made,
but just...
American made, American made, American made, American made. Anyways, WWE NXT No Mercy took place tonight. We had Chase University of Andre Chase and Ridge Holland defending the tag team titles against Nathan Frazier and Axiom. And we got new tag team champions tonight when Nathan Frazier and Axiom defeated Chase University. And after the match, Ridge Holland tore the school down and beat the holy snot out of Chase University and Andre Chase. Ridge Holland decided he didn't want to graduate from Chase University. He wanted to burn it down. Hi, babies. Roxanne Perez, of course, faces Jada Parker and won and retained her title, only to have Julia come out afterwards. And Ethan Page, in a beautiful match with Joe Henry, defended the NXT Championship with Trick Williams as special guest referee. In the end, the all-ego era still continues in NXT as Joe Henry came up a little bit short. I guess not enough of you out there believe in Joe Henry. Now, what happens when Joe Henry makes it to the main WWE roster and he's got to walk into the original Bo Lever and Bo Dallas?
That's a good question.
NXT No Mercy was a great show.
I'm looking forward to
Damn
that.
good show. A lot of great matches, a lot of great competition. NXT really setting a standard bearer there. Anyways, we're going to take a switch here. We're going to lay out the floor to Mr. Z before we get into the Bash in Berlin review, before we talk about more SPW stuff and get into all that nitty-gritty stuff. So, ladies and gentlemen, sit down, pull up your favorite little pink spoon, stick it into this ice cream barrel that's called New Japan Pro Wrestling, and get a little sample of the flavor of the day. As Mr. Z brings you a taste sample or a setup, he's going to let you know all that wonderful stuff you're going to find out about on the New Japan Rebound podcast this Tuesday on Patreon, Wednesday right here on YouTube. Mr. Z, my New Japan Pro Wrestling Encyclopedia Britannica, Mr. Tasty Toes himself. Congratulations so far on the show. You have not put foot in mouth, so I mean that deserves a round of applause. Congratulations. But tell the folks out there why they need to tune in to the New Japan Pro Wrestling Rebound podcast this Tuesday on Patreon or this Wednesday on YouTube. Tell them what they can get hungry for. Get them salivating. Set the table.
I mean, where we get started at? I mean, right out of the gate, their pre-show, we'll talk about Matt Vendegraff, California own, and again, in another strong Survivor match. I'm not going to give that the result because you know what? That was a hell of a match. We'll talk more about that one when the time comes. Going into the main card, we had New Japan, a strong openweight tag team title match of TMDK against Hanshiro and Virus. So we had a CMLL and we had New Japan Pro Wrestling going at it. Hiromu Takahashi and Mustafa Ali. I mean, on point, hell of a match. I'm not even going to tell you at the end of that one. You gotta come back Tuesday and find out. And folks, because everyone cracks the joke thinking I am such a big fan of this boo-boo of a person, we had on the line, folks, for the main event, unfortunately in my book, Mercedes Moné and Momo Wannabe going toe-to-toe for the New Japan Strong Women's title. I won't tell you the results, but we'll talk about more of it on Tuesday. That is your sample you're getting. Come back Tuesday or Wednesday, and we'll get knee-deep into it. Mr. Clark, what's up?
So after the main event, was there a dance party by chance?
No! Hell no! Not on my end.
Delete.
But yes, folks, Tuesday, Wednesday, come back. We'll talk all about it. You can get upset with me, or you can share along the way. We're going to have fun.
Tune in or turn out, whichever it's going to be. You got to tune in Tuesdays on Patreon. Go ahead and check the link in the description below. You can click on the Patreon page. You get the first source you got to do is sign up for the free Patreon. Go to Patreon, sign up for Patreon. If you're watching this at any point in time, go in the link in the description below and click on the Patreon page. Sign up for the Patreon. A lot of great articles coming out there almost on the daily, and some extra videos that are over there that you can only exclusively see on Patreon. Go check out the Patreon, The Value Wrestling. It is on Patreon. Go over there. It's all free. It's all free. Why would you want to go over there and check it out? Why? It is FREE. Free. Gotcha. Get you. Got it good. And if you can't do that, stay tuned Wednesdays. New Japan Rebound Podcast is right here on YouTube, along with In Markdom We Trust, which comes out every Wednesday. You get to hear from our outside podcaster. You can love her, you can hate her. She's got her own points of view. Sometimes she's called the defender of AEW, but Jane Abbott is always here with a twist.
Is Jane a fan of AEW? I haven't really picked it apart, you know. She seems very supportive.
Sometimes she seems to be in Tony Khan's quarter. Other times she's criticizing of what's happening in the company. So your guess is as good as mine.
That's what we
So has she been on the casting couch with Tony Khan at some point? Is that
Hi, guys.
what we're saying here?
Hi, guys.
No.
Anyways, let's move this along. Let's switch this up. Let's talk about. Let's take a brief break. We're going to give you a little partnership here with the Goldmine. As you know, the buddies over there at the Goldmine are your place for Funko Pops. As you see behind me, the collection's always growing. I got some new ones to share with you. So sometime this coming week, we will do a wrestling collectibles with some new Funko Pops that have come in. We're going to introduce those with a couple other things. But we're going to talk about the Goldmine. You can click the description below. There's a link to their Facebook group. You can sign up for the Goldmine on Facebook. Tell them what Funko Pops you're looking for, whether it's wrestling related or whatever else. I've got other ones. I got a wonderful gizmo over here. That is a frog gizmo with some 3D glasses. That's an awesome piece to add to a big collection. But you can find all those Funko Pops at the Goldmine. They're going to help you find those. So go check that out. Let's give you a quick commercial while we do a little stretching and housekeeping, and we'll be right back after this. This is the Value Wrestling on the big time, and I'm here with some great news. Are you a Funko Pop collector? Are you searching for some hard-to-find Funko Pops? Are you just looking to complete a collection? Well, the Value Wrestling is teamed up with the Goldmine. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Goldmine, which can be found on Facebook, or by going to the description below and clicking the link, you can sign up to join the Goldmine, who will help you find those hard-to-find, rare pops. They'll help you complete your collection. Just let them know when you're signing up what Funko Pops you're looking for, and that the Value Wrestling sent you. The Goldmine, the ones that are going to help you to find those rare-to-find pops and help you finish your collection. All can be done at the Goldmine. Sign up today and make sure you tell them the Value Wrestling sent you. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, the Goldmine. Check them out. Links in the description below. Join in. If you don't like it, then I don't know what to tell you. Go cause chaos somewhere else instead of sitting here watching this whole show, running your mouth behind a
Got
computer
2 words
screen.
for you.
Oh, you didn't know.
Toro!
Anywho,
Toro!
Mr. Clark,
Chorizo?
what do you have for us tonight? For the Clark Report.
Wah, 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 wah.
But
So apparently Karen Cross would like to see a new Extreme Wrestling title in WWE. Karen Cross says he'd like to see a new, this is from 411mania.com, if you're wondering. Karen Cross says he'd like to see a new Extreme Wrestling Championship determined through a tournament. Cross posted to his Twitter account on Saturday and said that he'd like to see a no rules, no DQ tournament for a new championship. As you can see, Cross wrote, no, he already said that. No rules, no DQ, pinfall, submission, or a knockout is kind of the rules he would like to see. When a fan replied and suggested it could be a new content for Netflix, Cross agreed. And then recently, WWE instituted the WWE Speed Championship with a Women's Speed Championship set to debut at the end of a new tournament on the Twitter show. So we've had the Hardcore title in the past. We've had the 24/7 title. How do you guys feel about the idea of a Extreme Championship?
Mr. Z, your thoughts on the camera, live and in action. Your thoughts on the Extreme title.
My bad.
Quit trying to hate on the haters by hating them and making them mad.
I can't help it.
Dude, I thought, I really hoped, you're getting real close. I thought we'd make it through the night. I thought we'd make it through a weekly roundup without the Tasty Toes moment of the night. Make that dream come true.
Got you. All right. An Extreme title. With Netflix coming, that would be a good idea.
I'm more than down for this. I think the Extreme title would be a great title to add into it. It would give some of these other people who are in low or mid-card positions, it would give a title to a Karrion Kross, who would be a great carrier of that belt and help push his career back on track by giving him that title and making him a menacing character by letting him win that title and hold that title for a while, where he's beating people with Extreme Rules or knockouts, where he feels like a viable threat, which would give him character that then he could be positioned into an Intercontinental title, U.S. title reign, or even a world title picture. Let's do it. We need an Extreme title. Every independent that we go to has some type of Extreme title. It's out there. GCW is still a hot commodity. AEW shows that Extreme Wrestling still provides its best because they like to go a little too extreme on some of their things. But that's a whole different story. But I mean, I think in WWE's territory, let's do it. Not hardcore, but extreme. I think
here's my thing too.
Style.
When he's saying the only way to win is by knockout, one of the key ways to win is by knockout, there's a lot of big knockout artists in this industry that's on the main roster. I mean,
yeah, potentially.
I would love to see it.
Hell, submission or knockout.
Even give one of these boys, even one of the guys from ALP, those are both certified MMA fighters.
Right.
That's right up their alley.
Submission would be good too, because you get at a whole different element. I think this could help Karrion Kross in a huge way. My question is, if we talk about knockout, should we bring out a former man who knew how to knock people out of retirement? I mean, if badass Billy Gunn can still wrestle, could Bart Gunn still go?
I think he's retired from the ring altogether, but that would be an interesting story to circle back to.
It's a bad joke.
Yes,
I don't really want it, but it would be a bad joke.
But I mean, I would love to see Karrion Kross use his submission ability. Yes. He shows it on Instagram, breaking bats daily. So I would love to see him use his submission background.
You know, it was very entertaining. If you haven't watched the Chris Van Fleet interview with Jesse the Body Ventura, Karrion Kross was there.
Oh my goodness!
Karrion Kross was doing his Jesse the Body Ventura impression while interviewing Jesse the Body Ventura. Classic stuff. Go check out Chris Van Fleet, Jesse the Body Ventura interview. They do Karrion Kross, and then they call up Will Sasso and via FaceTime. Will Sasso does his own impression of Jesse the Body Ventura. Great stuff. Chris Van Fleet, thank you for that moment in time that we might have thought would never happen.
I was going to say something about that too. I mean, can we be happy with the men's that were put together between WWE and the Body? Yes. The peace made between the two.
Of course, this
I would love to see what.
Yes. Of course, this does mean we're never going to see them and him and Hulk Hogan cross, because he did say on that Chris Van Fleet, he is never forgiving Hogan. There is no in Jesse Ventura's words, way to make that right.
No.
Yeah, well,
That's
there's
okay.
a bunch of us that are like Punk Hogan anyway, so we don't care.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's talk about Bash in Berlin. Bash Berlin took place yesterday, Saturday morning, late in Europe, but it was here early in the morning. We were up early watching this show, 8 a.m., the pre-show into this show. And we opened with the Undisputed WWE Championship match, which a lot of people, why is Cody opening the show? Because Gunther had a main event. One title, one title. You have them on opposite ends.
Yes.
It made sense. Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens. Cody Rhodes, of course, defended his title successfully by beating Kevin Owens. After the match, they celebrated together in a beautiful moment. Cody Rhodes doing what he does best. This was a good match. This was a solid match. Don't have anything to complain about. Is Kevin Owens going to not re-sign with WWE? I don't see why he wouldn't. I think Kevin Owens or Kevin Steen in AEW would be another loss factor. He could go do a lot of things that they may have done in Ring of Honor, but I don't know if Kevin Owens wants to put his body on the line like that anymore. I think Kevin Owens is in some of the best shape he's ever been in his wrestling career. If you go look at him between now and when he looks like Kevin Steen, he is in better physical shape. Is he still a big boy? Yes. But if you look at him overall, he's in better physical shape. He looks healthier. I think he's happy. I don't see him going to AEW just because he lost this match or he's losing many title matches. He's doing great stuff in WWE. He's being spotlighted in many, many high main event level positions. Kevin Owens will be with WWE in the future. I think he will re-sign if he hasn't completely re-signed that contract. I don't see a place for him in AEW other than getting lost in the shuffle. Unless he wants a big payday.
He get lost in
payday, I guess.
Well, I think that's why everyone's going to him. That's why Cornette calls him the money mark. They're going for the payday. They're going for the lack of grind. I'm sorry, Ospreay. I used to have so much respect for you, but there's no grind over there. There's nothing over there. It's just we've got nothing for you, so go have a seat in catering or go home, and we'll give you a call when we feel like we need you. And that's where a lot of those guys are at home right now collecting a check, and then their contracts are expiring.
Of course, my question is, where's that? When does that money come to an end? When does Tony Khan not have the money?
When Daddy cuts it off.
Can't even see that because, I mean, they've got to be bringing money in, and AEW is not necessarily bringing the level of money in that is going out on its own volition. And so I'm sure he's borrowing from the Jaguars and the other entities they have. But I'm like, how much money can they bleed into this thing? Again, the sad part, and Bischoff points this out, Tony Khan is the modern era of WCW, late WCW at this point, because a lot of money going out, but we don't see the money going in. Anyways, Kevin Owens, Cody Rhodes match, good match. Your thoughts, gentlemen?
Yeah.
The women's tag.
First of all, I don't see Kevin Owens going anywhere just because he's got the respect of the fans, he's got the respect of his peers, of management. Like, I feel like he's at home. From this point forward, I think he's a WWE lifer. Either he's in WWE or he's nowhere. He's not interested in wrestling then.
He's between wearing I'm a Paul guy, which means he could either be a Paul Heyman guy or a Paul Levesque guy, because they both are, big fans of what Kevin Owens doing. The WWE Women's Tag Team titles are on the line when the unholy union of the unholy union.
Isla Dawn and Alba Fire.
Alba Fire, Isla Dawn.
Defended their tag team titles against Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, the former women's champions. This was a decent match. Jade Cargill showed some improvement in this match, and I was excited. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill win back their titles by defeating the unholy union. We have new women's tag team champions, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. I'm a little sour here because I like the unholy union as the tag team champions. I didn't really want to see it go back to Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill.
Thank you.
I think Jade.
Thank you.
I think I'm kind of, Jade needs to sink or swim on her own. Bianca Belair just bores me.
I think it's a little too early for that.
Bianca Belair just bores me, I guess, too. It's just, I'm not excited for this. I don't know why we took the titles back. Hopefully there's a payoff to this. The unholy union should have remained the champions.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I completely agree.
Who are we pissing off? What AEW fan, what Twitter fan has got you riled up that you're staring down there?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, all right. I'm done. I'm trying to get them to come and join us so we can have this conversation.
Okay, there you go. That's a different question. That's all you got to say. I'm over here trying to get certain people to join us. I don't care when you're doing something
I said,
productive.
we're on live. I gave them the link.
There
We're
you go.
live. Come talk to us. You want to talk to us? Let's go.
Where are you at, Cheap Seat Riders? Where are you at, AEW fanboys of the Basement Circus? You want to talk all your smack diddly smackdown? Why don't you show up and get into the real talk with the real conversation with real men who will really sit here and listen to you and give you a place to voice
I told
your-
him, I said, we have a guy in here right now that's got no bones about talking to us.
Hey,
And he runs his mouth worse than anybody.
As long as you keep it in the parameters that is
Respectful.
safe for you, YouTube. Respectful. I mean, if you get over disrespectful, we pretty much just ignore you and just not worry about it. But I mean, if you want to come in here and actually have a conversation, have an actual debate, get in here. Tell us what you say. You put it out on Twitter. Why can't you come in here and have a conversation about it? Debate your aside. Debate is what makes everybody better. Without debating, we don't grow. If we all thought the same, we'd all be screwed. Promise you. If we don't have difference of people with different opinions to debate different topics and make each other understand things, we don't grow. There's no growth without debate.
But that's what they do, man. They don't want to come in here and talk business. And I've even said it on my show. If you have an opinion, that's great. Let's talk about it. There's a comment box. We can have a conversation, and it will be a respectful one. But, no one wants to come talk to us.
Anyways, the strap match was a banger match. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre in a strap match. Drew McIntyre came out like a Spitfire, attacking Punk before the match. Eventually slapped the strap on his hand, gave the other side to the ref. The ref put it on CM Punk, and this match went down. At one point, they almost pulled off what I had been claiming. Drew was carrying Punk around. He was slapping the turnbuckle behind his back. Punk was slapping the other turnbuckles. They almost let it come out that way, but in the end, Punk with 4 GTSs to Drew McIntyre. He hit the GTS, slapped the turnbuckle. Drew stirred. He hit a GTS. He went and tagged the next turnbuckle. Drew moved. He hit another GTS. He went and tagged the next turnbuckle. CM Punk made sure Drew McIntyre wasn't getting up and won. Of course, I think a lot of us were probably crapping our pants on the edge because he kept picking up Drew. The turnbuckle, and you pick up Drew. We're like, what is one of these going to backfire? We were all like, oh. And then he actually won. We're like, oh, thank God. That was what's great about this match. Both men were great. And that heart-pounding ending that kept you in going, oh, freak. The Punk's going to screw up. Punk's wasting too much time. Punk's going after him. Drew's going to come back. In the end, Punk won. Thank God. It's where it needs to be 1-1. We're going to Bad Blood. We're going Hell in a Cell. CM Punk, Drew McIntyre. CM Punk can say the feud with Drew's over, but it's not. He got his bracelet back. He pulled the bracelet off and slapped that last turnbuckle for the big win, and that was a big moment. And so hopefully the bracelet's out of the storyline. But Drew, CM Punk, Hell in a Cell, one more match. Go ahead, Mr. Clark.
I know you really, at Bad Blood, you really want to see this Hell in the Cell, but until it's official, it means nothing. I understand that this is the vision you see, and I don't know, maybe it's like calling out for HBK to come back.
And it worked!
You do enough.
See, it's your fault that
But
Brett
until
never
it's
came
official-
back because you didn't have the same passion as I
He
was saying.
did come back. He did come back, but it was not as good because he was already hurt.
But see, how
Are we
long-
still going with that argument, you guys? You guys have been fighting that for decades. That argument still ain't done?
That'll always be our great endless argument. Because I did for every year that HBK was out of wrestling, and me and Mr. Clark would call it, Pat, HBK's going to come back. HBK ain't done. And yeah. And then it finally happened, and Mr. Clark said, okay. Speak it into existence.
Get out of that wheelchair.
I don't know if he
Maybe
was ever
that's
in a
what
wheelchair.
happens at Bad Blood. Maybe we do get a Hell in a Cell.
Yes.
But until it's official,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
It's the question. Do you not want to see it?
I'm not saying I don't.
Okay.
Just like I didn't say, at no point did I ever not say, but I never said that I didn't want to see Sean back.
Yeah.
I was glad that HBK came back. So I've never said you had bad taste. Let me put it that way. In that respect.
He did say after Brett came back, he's kind of like, I wish he would have came back. But that's a whole different story.
My fear is not so much what we got with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, because that was great. But where do we go from here with the Terror Twins and Judgment Day.
I think that's done. That's done.
Well, we're not there yet. I mean, you want to jump to that next level, but yes, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, the Terror Twins, beat Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan and all Judgment Day. They all came out there. The Terror Twins came out in the end. Judgment Day looks like beat puppies, and the Terror Twins are ruling the top. I don't know. I mean, you could run that back into a Hell in a Cell too with them, but there's no legs for Dominic and Liv to really get a rematch there. Why would they? I mean, if Dominic and Liv would have won this match with all the outside interference, then I could have seen that the Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley asking for a cage or a Hell in a Cell against them where nobody else could interfere.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's no way to get there. I don't know what your story is next. I think Rhea and Liv might tie it up for a singles title, which you could give that a Hell in a Cell match, so Dom can't interfere. So that might be your women's Hell in a Cell match, because I'm sure we're going to get a women's Hell in a Cell, and we'll get a men's Hell in a Cell, which will be Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. We wish it into fruition, and it happens, right, Hunter? Paul Levesque, Triple H.
We.
That's a horrible.
We're back to France.
It's an inside joke. You had to be at SPW cruising for a bruising last night. We had a couple of fans who were we. Hey, if you watched the show, you probably saw the fans because they were in camera shot doing it. And then we had one kid there that was screaming, "We the people!"
Yes.
Oh no!
No random reason. They'd just be like, "We the people." Love the people at SPW, the great fans. They subscribe to the channel. Hi guys, we thank you for being here and tuning in. We hope you found a new home, and you've even made it on the show. We loved it. We the people. We can't wait to see you at the next event. But I don't know where you go with that.
I had to go there because you're talking yes. I just had to do it.
I don't know where we go with Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley and the Dom Liv story. Judgment Day is kind of done. I mean, they beat everybody. Judgment Day came out and they beat everybody. It didn't go the way we thought it would have. I don't know where you continue the story, except Rhea and Liv having a one-on-one match for the women's title in a Hell in a Cell. That would be my answer to that. Because Dominic and Damian don't.
What if it's not Hell in a Cell? What if it's First Blood?
But that doesn't. Well, I mean, you could, because then you could give the win and keep the title, because you could have Dom come out. But I think you're going to have a better match if you put Rhea and Liv in a Hell in a Cell for the women for that women's world title, and have Dirty Dom come out some way, whether he was already hiding under the ring or come out and cut a hole in there. Because there's no reason for.
I can see all that.
There's no reason for Dominic and Damian Priest to. Or hell, maybe Dom will be on top of the cage when it comes down. Or you could do a lot with Dom and how he could get in there. But I was
going to say, can we have just... they would end up having to put Dom in a damn shark cage.
I knew you were going to that direction with it.
Anywho.
They did it with Paul Ellering. Like, what more do you want me to go with?
We haven't had that in a long time. But the point is, to do Damian and Rhea versus Dom and Liv again would serve no purpose. There's nothing there to do it again.
And the way she stacked her at the end of that, like that was
the only thing you're going to have is that Rhea pin Liv, which should qualify Rhea for a world women's title shot.
Yes,
I would think you'd put that in a Hell in a Cell. What you do with Damian Priest, I think Damian Priest needs to move on to Finn Balor now. That's where Damian Priest's attention needs to go.
Yes,
Dom needs to be Dom needs to figure a way to get in that Hell in a Cell. Whether that means he'll be under the ring, waiting as that match goes on, and helps Liv retain the title, because I don't think it's time to give back the title to Rhea yet. This match needs to go this way. Liv Morgan needs to defend that title in a Hell in a Cell. That needs to be Rhea's stipulation, and Liv needs to say, fine, I will take your Hell in a Cell match with you, but if I win, you don't get another title match. As long as I'm champion,
there you go.
Well, I'm champion.
Then you could build Rhea to possibly win the Rumble and force that hand. Of course, I think Rhea's already won the Rumble, but I mean, hey, we've had it with the men. I think Rhea might be a great chance to redo it and have her big moment at WrestleMania to beat Liv there. I think if you let Rhea beat Liv here, it's done. Like, Liv needs her upcomings after this match. And I think Liv and Dom,
Yes.
if you do Liv versus Rhea for the women's world title, because Rhea pinned Liv in that match, so technically she deserves a world title match. You put it in a Hell in a Cell, you have the stipulation, and you have Dom get into the Hell in a Cell. Or the simple way you do that, Dom gets in because Rhea gets so mad at Liv, she chucks her through the cage breaks, allowing that open opportunity for the screw
There you
job.
go.
And in the match of the night, I mean, this was a banger of a banger. These two men brought it at the level we knew they could. Gunther and Randy Orton in a classic match. Randy Orton hitting the RKO out of nowhere, almost making you believe that he was going to win the title and take it from Gunther. Tables, everything came into play. The stacked, the steel stairs. I mean, this match was great. And Gunther got the win. He retained this title. Gunther solidified himself. I mean, if Gunther is not just the king of the ring, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, he should also be able to pick up that title of Legend Killer. And I would start bringing in some legends on some legend seals to get beaten by Gunther, just to solidify that. I mean, why not have a new Legend Killer in Gunther and create this man as the Beast that probably won't lose his title until WrestleMania? Now, who do you make to beat Gunther? I don't know. Is CM Punk going to be the guy that beats Gunther? Is that going to be the grand story that CM Punk is going to win the Rumble, go into the main event of WrestleMania against Gunther? Of course, he could go against Cody. We could go a different direction maybe, but I think Cody is going to either be a Roman rematch or a Rock match or somewhere else in that storyline. But I think if you have Punk, I believe Punk's going to win the Rumble this year. They don't have enough time to give him, and his whole catalyst, his whole storyline is main eventing WrestleMania. So it's like, this is kind of that last chance, I think, for Punk, because I don't know how much more Punk has to give. He wins the Rumble. He faces Gunther. Does he beat Gunther? It's not about Punk winning, but having his moment. But I think, you could really help Punk be something if he was to beat Gunther. That would celebrate Punk on a new level. And then whoever beats Punk could be solidified as the next. There's opportunity there. I also think that, of course, right now, I don't know anybody. I mean, Chad Gable would be a great win to win the Rumble and beat Gunther, but Chad Gable's on a heel run right now. It seems a little too soon.
I would actually be. I wouldn't be opposed to Punk winning and taking on Gunther, but for some reason, I would like to see Gunther win that one. I don't know why.
I think you have to have Gunther. I think Gunther's going to run until Mania, but I don't think you're going to let Gunther go that long afterwards because he already had that long title reign.
No.
The Intercontinental title run.
Yeah, with Roman.
I think we're booking to WrestleMania, and I would say Punk possibly, and the other catalyst that might be a shocker, another one that they may finally give him his big moment, and he's overdue. He deserves it. He's earned it. He's done everything. He may never be the big face of a company, but maybe it should be the guy that beat Gunther this year at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title. Sami Zayn becoming World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania, beating Gunther. And I mean, that would really solidify the history that you could create with Sami beating Gunther again at WrestleMania, where you could say Gunther can't beat Sami at WrestleMania. It could always be something you can roll back to without the title in life. Now, this doesn't mean that Sami's going to have a long title run. He could run into SummerSlam next year and lose the title. But that would be the other, outside dark horse. I hate to call him a dark horse, but that would be another guy that I think would fit into either winning the Rumble or winning the Elimination Chamber and getting Gunther and winning that world title, because Sami deserves a world title run on the main roster.
I agree.
Yeah.
So there's some options. There's a lot of options.
I mean, I agree so much that I thought Sami winning the Intercontinental title was a step down this year.
Yeah,
because he was on such a hot streak. And I understand it was
they've given him such an underdog story that it's reminiscent of Danielson when he was on his run to the world title. He deserves it.
This could be interesting. I think Punk wins the Rumble because it's one of the things he doesn't do. I think he goes into WrestleMania. Will it be Gunther or will he pick Cody? Did we get CM Punk and Cody? And then can we get, oh my God, Las Vegas, Nevada, ladies and gentlemen, CM Punk versus Cody Rhodes for that world title. Even though the bloodline, I'm sure, is going to play some role. We still don't know where The Rock and all this other stuff may play in there. But hey, you know what? Let's go the other fantasy between Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. Main eventing WrestleMania for the WWE title. Because you know what? I would think Punk would probably want that title more than the world title. And I might rather see Punk versus Cody. That would be an amazing banger of a match. And
the only sad part to that is that would be a night 2 match, and I would be there.
We don't know anything yet. You might wind up at both nights of WrestleMania if everything comes to fruition. So you got to think positive.
Yes.
The power of positivity. There's a possibility that's all going to work out. So don't sell yourself short.
Yep.
They don't rock.
There we go.
Anyways. Cody Rhodes could headline night 2, and then you could have Gunther versus Sami Zayn. Sami winning the Elimination Chamber. That would be, that would be a WrestleMania that worth watching. That would be a WrestleMania that I could start selling. That would be on the level of WrestleMania 40. I mean, Sami Zayn, Gunther, that story, part 2. Woo! And Cody and CM Punk, that's just going to be a wrestling classic match. I mean, that match sells itself just on paper.
Yeah. Vegas would be on fire those 2 nights.
A way to go. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Bash of Berlin. Overall, I thought it was a good show. I thought it was a great show.
Yeah.
Coming off of
Definitely.
All In was a decent show. I think Bash of Berlin hit every match in Bash of Berlin was decent. I'm sure Meltzer won't give any 5 stars because he only plays 5 stars and more with one little groupie. And
there you go. I like that.
Yes.
No, he can't.
No, he's special. You have to spell it out for him. Anywho, last night after Bash of Berlin, me and Mr. C headed up north to Sacramento, California. We wound up at the California Automobile Museum for Supreme Pro Wrestling's Cruising for a Bruising event, and what a card, ladies and gentlemen. If you didn't get to watch that show out, now I know in the beginning, the technical issues, the audio sound, we were trying to figure it out. We didn't get the proper time to set up like we wanted to due to other issues that were beyond our control. We got started off on a little of a hiccup, but eventually that show came together. I think we know what our issues are, so hopefully next show will be on par. We're going to get
Yes.
But what a great show. It opened with the Collectible Stampede Exclusive Championship. It was a 4-way dance. OC Hayes, Sir Samurai.
Let me get the notebook.
Yes.
Let me get the notebook.
Mr. Z.
Let me get the card. I actually have it on my phone still. Hold on.
Mr. Z is going to pull up the notebook.
I think I still.
I'm going to look over here.
Yeah, it was Sir Samurai, Chris Blaze, Cass, and OC Hayes.
OC Hayes and Cash. I forgot Cash's first name in that match. But yes, it was
Andrew Cass.
Andrew Cash. It was a great match. Opened the show. It was a highlighting match. Of course, in the end, Blaze retained his Collectible Stampede Exclusive Championship in that 408 match. We've seen Blaze before. He was great. From there, we got a great match between Kyrie Leon and Carmelo Romeo. In a great match. Kyrie Leon very much booed. He came out on top of there. Then Bryce Kuza, Scoot Robertson, Chima, and Anthony Nova had a 4-way dance. We got the Sierra Bodie Scoot getting it on. And Chima, the Bujambi Lion out there. Anthony Nova, a great act to watch. Flying all over the ring. Bryce Kuza, what an amazing talent that was. And he got the big win. And in a great match, Dante Daring defeated Jason Xavier. And what a classic match that turned out to be. These two guys really tore down the house. And then the tag team titles are on the line as the Honor Society of Drake Frost, and Eliza Hammer retained the tag team titles for Honor Society against Patrick Fitzpatrick and T-Bone Talon. T-Bone Talon with his It's Tea Time. Didn't really get it out there.
Yes.
But what a great match.
But let me, real quick, before you move on with that one, you asked me. Yes, Patrick Fitzpatrick was an Honor Society member, but did turn heel due to a manager at one point paying him off to turn on Frosty.
There you go. And of course, the main event took place when the SPW Extreme Championship was on the line as Jake Tracy defended his title against the Metal Mechanic Bobby Callahan. Bobby Callahan coming out to the dancing music, dancing around with his own rosebuds. This place got on fire when he came out. Everybody was up and dancing. Everybody was having a good time. We even got up close action as Bobby Callahan brought Jack Tracy over near our table and whacked him with the kendo stick. But in the end, Jack Tracy catches Bobby Callahan slipping up for the 1, 2, 3, and Jack Tracy retains his title, and it's still the SPW Extreme Championship. But what we know is he is scheduled to defend that title against Daniel Torch on September 15th.
Torchy.
Daniel Torch, he's going to defend that title
There you
against
go.
Daniel Torch at Supreme Pro Wrestling. Plead the 5th. That's going to take place in Elk Grove, California at the Indoor Soccer Arena, or what we call the SPW Arena, the
SPW.
home place where Supreme Pro Wrestling takes place every month, every third Sunday of the month. SPW is live at the Indoor Soccer Arena in Elk Grove, California, so you can check that out. They're going to be back home in Elk Grove, and of course, they're going to be bringing you Plead the 5th with a lot of great action. Also, it's been updated, and like I said, we are going to find out more information as soon as I can. But on September 15th, they'll be raising money for the former SPW Extreme Tag and World Tree Climbing Champion Daniel Torch. They will also be having a bake sale with all the proceeds going to Torch, and also during intermission, you can donate a donation of $5 or more. Will give you the opportunity to take a picture with any current SPW champion and their championship belt. So lots of stuff going on there on Sunday, September 15th, 2024, Elk Grove, California, Indoor Soccer Arena. Check the link in the description below. Go to the Supreme Pro Wrestling's Facebook page to get more information and stay updated on all that information. They are going to be there to give you all that great information. Eventbrite.com is usually where their tickets are on sale. So once they get that up, it'll be there so you can purchase your tickets for the event. The event will start, the doors will open at 4:30 p.m. The event starts at 5 p.m. It's going to be a fun time. This is a great picture right here. Going through the pictures of last night, there was a moment where Sir Samurai tricked everybody by looking like he was going to springboard out of the ring. He didn't. He sat in the middle of the ring, laying on a mat,
Yeah.
looking at everybody like an
Yeah,
indie
that's right.
darling. This is a great moment, and I'm in the background of that picture. Very, very impressive there. This was a great show, a great lot of matches. Check out Supreme Pro Wrestling. They've got a lot of still shots on here that are absolutely amazing of the event. Some high-flying action. Nova, at one point, I think it was, took flight to another universe. He launched himself off of that turnbuckle, or was it Guadalupe?
Oh my goodness.
They took off to a whole nother level, jumped and flew. I'm surprised they didn't bang their heads on the rafters of this building. I mean, the air this man got was like, oh my gosh. The Supreme Pro Wrestling, we thank them. We thank Scoot. We thank Sir Samurai. We are so humble and so blessed that you guys have allowed us to become somewhat part of your family. Open the doors wide. Welcome us in. Embrace us.
Yes.
And if you look on the channel, there is the Inside Scoop with Scoot, which breaks down some of the other stuff. We know Ola Main. I forget who he said Ola Main's going to be defending the SPW Championship against at Plead the 5th, SPW Plead the 5th. It was a great time in this great facility. Somebody had a sign that says, Scoot is my favorite automobile exhibit. We didn't see that last night. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Supreme Pro Wrestling, bring out your signs. Come be a part of this. Supreme Pro Wrestling is a great show. It is a lively crowd. Both shows we've gone to, the crowd has been just what's gotten us excited and entertained and kept us just really pumped up. You got to love it. A lot of great action. Can't wait for Supreme Pro Wrestling Plead the 5th. And we're going to be doing more information as we grow closer to these events and these shows each and every time.
Yeah.
We're going to bring it down. And of course, SPW is going to be at Lodi Comic-Con on September 28th, along with our good buddy, our boy, AJ Kirsch. We're going to sit down and have that wonderful interview. It's also been reported that MVP, and you can take that as it is. If you're a fan of MVP, come out and meet the MVP and, of course, the other member of Hurt Business, Shelton Benjamin, is going to be there. MVP looking to get into some blood sport matches. So we'll see what happens there. What is Shelton Benjamin going to do? I don't know. Maybe Mr. Z will get the inside scoop with either of them about their futures in the wrestling business. We'll have to wait and see. That's all going down at Lodi Comic-Con on September 28th, Lodi, California. That's Saturday. It's the end of the month. Be there, be square, because it's going to be a hot time in the old town tonight. The Value Wrestling's going to be there. Supreme Pro Wrestling's going to be there. MVP, Shelton Benjamin. What more could you ask for? I don't know. Comic-Con, a fun time. Let's promote that event. October is still going to be hot and lit. At some point in October, we're going to return to Realm of Warriors Championship Wrestling for our big event they're going to have. and we're going to be partying all night with them. Can't wait to see more of that. September is going to be fun.
We're getting busy, folks. We are getting busy.
We're doing at least one show a month right now, and we're open to many others. And, of course, we're going to work closely with SPW. I think our next big step is to talk to Scoot about getting some of the stars of SPW on the channel in interviews and interview segments and having time with them here in the near future. That is going to be a key point of what we're going to work with next. So get excited, get entertained, get ready for whatever's coming next. Stay tuned, stay alert, ring the bell for notifications. Make sure you're subscribed to The Value of Wrestling right here on YouTube. Go to the Patreon page, which is in the link in the description below. Sign up for the Patreon page. All this stuff is important as you follow The Value of Wrestling, as we're a growing brand, as we're a global juggernaut that is going to change the face of the IWC. You can either buy that, because I can tell you can take that check to the bank. It's not going to bounce, because we are here to make change. We are here to set the standards. We are going to be in the big league names sooner than you know.
There you go.
Speaking of the
So
fruition.
we bring more value. You're saying we're going to bring more value than dollar? Because
We bring more.
Oh!
We bring more sense than AJ Francis ever will, and that's the freaking truth. And you can take that check and
You
cash
had
it
to
at the
get
bank
started.
every day and twice on Sunday. Because you know what? Top dollar wannabe, you can't make no change because you can't even fly over a top rope. 2 words for you. You know what I'm saying. Anywho, we're the Value of Wrestling. We put the value back into wrestling, and we're gonna we're gonna change the IWC. We're gonna be the most valuable asset that is out there. People are gonna be talking about the Value of Wrestling. They're gonna be, oh, those guys. Believe that. Get in on the ground floor. Sign up. Subscribe. Simple. It's free. Doesn't hurt. Doesn't do anything. You just hit that subscribe button, and then you're gonna be alerted when the Value of Wrestling is live. When the Value of Wrestling's got new content, we are bringing new content. We are passionate about new content. We are going to bring new stuff, and we're going to keep it going. Tomorrow, Monday, we'll be back with your Monday Night Post Show Review. Tuesdays on Patreon, the New Japan Pro Wrestling Rebound Podcast. Wednesdays, the New Japan Pro Wrestling Rebound Podcast is here on YouTube, along with Jane AIBot and her and Mark Them We Trust. Thursdays, nothing right now. This Friday, there will not be a SmackDown Post Show Review. There may be a quick review or some other feature on that. Saturday, we will be back live after All Out to do a whole post-show review. We'll sit down and we'll give you our takes on how we felt about All Out in Chicago, Illinois. Will we be all out of energy to give you anything? I don't know, but we'll be here to give you what we can. Sunday is always our favorite time. Come back next Sunday, September 8th, for another weekly roundup podcast where we'll be doing episode 56 and of course, tune in every single day to the short field where you get to see this date in wrestling history, learn a little bit of this date in wrestling history. We are getting closer and closer to episode 365, and I'm going to tell you what, once that's done, we may turn that into a weekly show where I discuss what's happened in this week in wrestling. That is a more in-depth show that may add pictures and content and other values instead of doing a quick daily run. We may be expanding that a little more, so give you a weekly show that talks about this week in professional wrestling, just to keep you encouraged. And of course, next Sunday is September 8th, and the Sunday after that, September 15th, that's Supreme Pro Wrestling, Plead the 5th, Elk Grove, California. And you know what, brothers and sisters, if you think I'm trying to sell you a show, I am, because it is great action. Yes. If you're in Northern California, if you're in the Bay Area, if you're in the Central Valley, if you're up in the mountains, if you're in the Gold Country, if you're in Reno, Nevada, you need to be coming down to Elk Grove, California. You need to be coming to the Sacramento area at least every third Sunday. So you can plan this out. Every third Sunday of every single month, Supreme Pro Wrestling has action, some of the best action. You need to be there. You need to check this out. This is not just something we can show you. This is not just something we can talk about. We can talk it up, and we're going to sell it all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. But you need to be there every third Sunday, because I'm telling you, this is some great wrestling action, and there's wrestling stars from the future that are probably in these rings that we're going to bring you. Because if you want to know the history of SPW, Mr. Z can tell you some names. I don't know if Mr. Clark can tell you some names, but we can definitely talk about one, Johnny Mundo, Johnny Morrison, Johnny TV, Johnny Nitro, Johnny Extreme, Johnny whatever his 10,000 names are.
Bloodsport.
Yes, Johnny Bloodsport is a former talent from SPW and a more well-known name, at least on the WWE roster, that is an SPW alumni. Stotzi, among many, many other talents that have come through the hollow halls of the land called Supreme Pro Wrestling.
There's a lot of lineage there, folks.
Yes.
You know you got to come out to this show. I'm looking forward to it.
This action is so intense, and this is such a fun, family fun environment. The wrestlers during intermission and after the shows are there for meets and greets. They're going to sign autographs. They're going to take pictures with you. They are there for the fans. They understand it. They go out there. They put their bodies online. And SPW is all about supporting causes. We had Lemonade for the help support Alex Lemonade's Hand for Cancer. They're doing a fundraiser for Daniel Torch this coming Sunday, September 15th, and I will get with people in charge to make sure I get a little more information if we can sell that too a little better. But we're going to get it all in. We're going to get it all out there. Trust me, there's a lot more information to come through. You want to stay tuned to the value of wrestling here on YouTube, Patreon. Gentlemen, is there anything else we need to add?
No, we will see you tomorrow night, folks.
See you for Raw.
I'm a little winded now. Anyways, yes, no, keeping the energy.
It's almost counting down to his vacation. That's what that is.
Well, it's a well-deserved vacation. I've earned it. I deserve it. I have put in a lot of work and effort over the last year on many different things, and so it's going to be a nice little mini vacation. I do have a birthday coming up, so it'll be nice to celebrate my birthday in fashion. But I love what we do here. We all love what we do here. We are passionate about this. Yes. We have a love for wrestling. We don't all three always agree on the same thing, and that's fine. That's just how this is supposed to work. If we all agreed and all talked the same, then we'd be pretty much boring because there'd be no difference. And so that's that. But we love professional wrestling, and Mr. Z has been a big movement in making these things happen, and he brought SPW into our life. And he's rekindled my love for what is deep independent wrestling. Because I haven't been to many independent wrestling shows, and now that we're not just like going to an independent show, but we are like, and I say this so humbly and so grateful to Scoot, for Samurai, everybody at SPW for opening those doors.
You guys, thank you so much.
With a warm, embracing hug and saying you guys are welcome to come anytime. I feel like we're part of the family. There's sacred things as a wrestling fan, and being able to even step behind a curtain is like, much respect.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Very humble that we get to do this.
Go ahead, Mr. Clark. Your 2 cents.
As an ending note, just remember, Jack Perry for AEW World Champion.
Oh, what the?
Ladies and gentlemen, every Sunday...
We're going to get off on that note.
Ladies and gentlemen, every Sunday right here on the Weekly Roundup, you can always tune in for the greatest moment and the breaking news of professional wrestling with Mr. Clark when he brings you the Clark Report. He breaks down the greatest in wrestling news and reports and rumors right here on the Value of Wrestling, right here on your Weekly Roundup. The Clark Report, going to be one of the hottest commodities in wrestling podcasting. The Clark Report is going to be the future of wrestling. It's going to change the landscape of professional wrestling. We hope that you'll come.
Wait a minute. I got one. I got one. We could talk to our boy who's making the shirts. We can see if we can make him a special Clark Report shirt.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to get some of the greatest merchandise. And maybe we'll get that Clark Report shirt so you can rep.
I'm glad I'm number one in your book.
Yes. See, he doesn't want to rip off the bloodline. That's why he's putting up 3 fingers. It's a salute to the Clark Report. That's how he feels so passionately about it that he puts up his 3 fingers and saying he is the one behind the Clark Report, the greatest segment.
Read between the lines.
Exactly what he's saying. He's number one when it comes to the Clark Report.
We
want Clark Report. Clark Report.
Hey, we'll get a bigger pop than Mercedes Moné and her CEO chant.
Oh, we can get the Clark Report dance.
Clark Report. And on that note,
you're still muted. You either didn't speak or you muted. I don't know which there, but anyhow.
I didn't speak at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
We could do a whole Clark Report. We'll get you. You know what? We'll get you some funkadactyls. We'll get the Clark Report dactyls or something. We'll get some animated girls that I could put behind you that could dance.
There you go.
Animated.
Yeah, you got a little
All
too
right,
funny.
folks, we're gonna go ahead and I think on
Ladies
that
and
note, I
gentlemen, we
think
got to
we're calling
wrap
it
this
now.
up. We got to call it a night. We're going to say see you later. Adios. Come back tomorrow night. Monday night post-show review right after Monday night. Pay attention. Ring your bell for notifications. Make sure you like this video and subscribe. Share this out with all your friends, family, and everybody who loves professional wrestling. This is the Value of Wrestling on the big time, along with Paulus Clark, the man behind the Clark Report, and, of course, Mr. Miguel Z, your New Japan Pro Wrestling expert, all right here on the Value of Wrestling. This has been Weekly Roundup, episode 55. We will see you on the next one.
This is
I
the
don't know.
value of wrestling.
The
The revolutionary
I've got a
force
scratch,
in
I'm missing a
wrestling
piece that completes a
podcasting.
whole part of me, an open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round. Welcome to the freak show, the best in town.
Boon Nung Hong arrived a little too late.
Yes.
Ni hao, everybody. That's like hi, hello.